Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. Nancy Guthrie continues to be the leading story in the news. Like, we're talking news, not political news, Capitol Hill, President Trump, foreign policy. This American story of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance continues to be captivating and very, very unusual. That's probably the best way for me to put it. Our poll today is, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? Yes, a little bit, or no. Now, the reason I'm asking this question, earlier in the week, I said I'm struggling with the idea of covering this story here on our show from noon to 3. We talk about a whole host of things. I don't really look at our show like anything is off the table to talk about, but I really do want to be respectful of when we talk about any story. I want to discuss it in a way that I feel is respectful to that of the content of whatever it is that's being discussed. I am kind of flabbergasted that we are this far into the Nancy Guthrie story, that we are this, it's like day 12, maybe 13. I don't remember what the last thing that I heard them say. And there have been several times, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm following it more closely than I usually follow any of these types of things. And for me, the contingent of investing my time and energy into this is that there's still, at least at minimum, a hope, but a belief that Nancy Guthrie could be alive. Now, if you've been living under a rock, or you're just really, really good at choosing when the news gets into your daily grind and when it doesn't, Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy Guthrie, vanished from her home 2 weekends ago, and they haven't come out with a suspect. They haven't come out with a motive. They haven't come out with really anything that would make somebody who knows nothing about the criminal justice process and you know, just what I've seen on TV. It seems as though there has been a mishandling of this investigation, a mishandling of this situation. I would hearken back to Katie Pavlich, who's been on this show a few times now with her new News Nation show that she has on 8 o'clock at night, or 9 o'clock at night, I think, on News Nation. She is from this area, and she said before any of this story really unfolded, she said, this place is not good at what they do. Pima County, Arizona, that it's corrupt and it's a mess, and this is not going to go well. And you know, it appears as though either these are the most intelligent, high-level criminals to commit a crime like this that we've seen in, you know, as long as I can remember, or there's some investigative negligence that has taken place. I don't know which one it is, and it really doesn't seem, in my mind up until at least this point, for me to come on here and criticize what law enforcement is doing, for me to pontificate on who done it, who I think might be responsible. I mean, I have thoughts, I have ideas. I don't really know that it's particularly helpful. And to turn that time that I spend with you talking about a woman who is missing, her children are missing her. Her daughter obviously is an incredibly high-profile individual, being the host of the Today Show. I told my kids, I said that her daughter's one of the people who hosts the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and my children know who Savannah Guthrie is because of that. I mean, she is, in essence, I understand that there is a large portion of our audience who would connect your connection of Savannah Guthrie into your life is watching her interview President Trump or moderate Democrat primary panels, whatever it might be. But this transcends that in such an important way because this is family, and we just don't know what's going on. I've seen a lot of criticism about the pace with which the news media is covering this story. People are frustrated. They're like, is there anyone else out there who's gone missing? Is Nancy Guthrie the only one that we're going to throw this type of weight behind? And, the longer this goes on, the longer I'm wondering what kind of nefarious actors might be behind this. It could be anything from she stumbled out of her house at night and got taken away by wildlife, something completely and totally accidental, to it's somebody in her family who maybe fell into the wrong crowd and knows that this family might have money or access to money. Or it could be drug cartels, which are just to the south of Tucson. I mean, they're in Tucson, Arizona. They're very close to Mexico. I don't know. What a broad range of possibilities that exist here. And near 2 weeks into this investigation, I don't think that they have publicly, that's the key here, publicly narrowed down exactly what they are looking at. I trust that law enforcement has a lot of information. I'm praying that they haven't provided to us. I think that's naturally how these things go. When law enforcement turns over information to the public, they're usually using it as a mechanism. I've talked to some detectives about this story, and they kind of confirm this. But if they turn something over, they're doing that as a tool to get to the other side of that. Like, the public is a necessary part of it. They're not just going to tell the public everything they know as they find it out. That's just not how these things work. But I've seen so many shows that I watch that I DVR, I turn them on at night or maybe during the day, and 80-90% of the coverage is Nancy Guthrie. So my question to you today on the YouTube live chat poll, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? I'm not asking you to weigh in on what you think happened. I'm not asking you, in a direct sense if you care. I just want to know if you're following the story. Yes, a little bit, or no. And I'll be curious to see. I'm a yes on this, but it's weird. There are a few stories that hit my life that become kind of like private life Annie. I'm following this in the news, not like, okay, I need to know, like a Supreme Court justice hearing or something like that. I'm like trying to learn things that I've never known before so I can do a better job of following everything in all my private lifetime so I can cover it better for you here. I've kind of separated those, but I'm curious for you folks listening right now, if you are following this story. You can text us at 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797, and let us know your thoughts. And honestly, if we get a couple few hundred votes on this poll today, and it is very different than what I think that you want to hear on this show, I will adjust the way I cover this story for you, because honestly, everything I'm doing here is for you. Last night, it was after 10 p.m. And in our family, Ryan, do you guys play video games in your house?
Yeah, we don't do it as a family a lot, but
what
the
video
kids
games
do. They're playing Fortnite a little bit right now.
Oh, really?
And actually, no, they're really into Mario Party right now.
Which one?
That is a great question. That is where my knowledge ends.
We were a big Mario Party family, but then there are a couple. I think there are maybe two or maybe three, maybe more than that. And we're like, oh, we love Mario Party. We bought it for a family, and they played it. We're like, oh, that's not the one we play.
Oh,
so we know just enough to be dangerous. So I play Fortnite with my older two kids. My 9-year-old is interested in playing Fortnite, but I don't think that it's a healthy thing for her. I think it's always per kid. I think you have to assess each kid differently. But I think the mental space you have to put yourself in, and Fortnite is a shooter game, but there's like no graphics to it in a way that makes it, to me, bad.
So that's not the one where you build things?
You can.
Okay.
There's one.
Okay.
Are you talking about Minecraft?
Maybe.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
I should have made you study for this segment. Minecraft is building.
Because my kids are talking about how they like building things a lot. So
and it's like
maybe it's Minecraft.
Minecraft is where you can build things in a world, and there are ways that you can turn on things that will like try to attack you and tear your stuff down. And then there's also just like builder mode or something. I've never played Minecraft myself. In Fortnite, you can build, but you're building yourself like a fort
Yeah,
so that
so
you
you can
don't
fight.
get dead.
Okay.
Fortnite, if you're not familiar with Fortnite is a game where I think it's always, these are referred to battle royale games, but 100 people get put on an island, and then you can loot the island to get guns and stuff like that. But then you just want to be the last one standing. So you want to beat everybody else. So if you're like me, you strategically hide, you fight when you have to. If you're like my son, there is no fight. There is nobody more confident than my 16-year-old son running into a Fortnite fight.
That's exactly the way he should be, though.
Well, yeah. And then he gets toast. And he's like, "Oh, they're cheating."
They're always cheating.
And then, like, you're shooting them, and he's like, "They're so low, they're so low." There are people out here right now who know exactly what I'm talking about, and probably the majority of you who don't. But this is my life. So you can play in teams. You can play in duos. You can play in trios. You can play in squads. So you can play by yourself, 2s, 3s, and 4s. So my oldest daughter and my son and I will play Fortnite when all the homework is done, the showers are taken, the baths are done, the rooms are clean, the dishes are taken care of. You want to play Fortnite tonight? Get your stuff done, and I'll play Fortnite with you. Not that they need me to play with them, but I like to play with them so that I am attached to the experience, you know? So what we've been doing lately is you play Fortnite, you play around a Fortnite, and if we win, you get to play again. It's usually win or go to bed. That's how we play.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but if it's not quite time to play win or go to bed, if you lose, they have to come in and do 3 sets of weightlifting.
Oh,
Okay.
those are great odds because you rarely win in Fortnite.
No, you don't win. I mean, we're not bad, but I'm not going to get into the details. I'm going to talk about Switch lobbies versus Xbox lobbies and stuff. Nobody cares. But, you go in and I'm hanging out with my kids this way, and I'm playing with them, and we're having this experience, and it's time to go to bed. It was 10:20 last night when I was like, "Okay, guys, you got to go to bed." And I was like, "You know what? Oh, wait, I need to do something. And I need to watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington."
The whole movie?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Launched that sucker at 10:30. Got a little bowl of ice cream, nice little treat, and I watched it last night for the first time.
What'd you think?
I like Jimmy Stewart, Frank Capra. I mean, I don't know. There's some things about it was endearing to me, but we're going to talk about it a little bit later. My poll for today was almost: have you ever seen Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? Have you?
No.
Have you ever seen it, Ethan? Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it,
You've
but I
heard
have
of
not
it?
seen it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I'm curious of people's texts on this one as well. So I do want to know, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? Yes, a little bit, or no? That's the poll. That's the feedback I need on this show so I can kind of know how to go forward. We'll discuss here at 12:30 in the room how Ryan and Ethan are following the story. But I'm also curious if you've seen the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, because we have a little filibustering to discuss as well. Hans von Spakovsky is going to be with us when we come back. Advancing American Freedom Senior Legal Fellow, also a former FEC commissioner. Hans will join us here in just a minute. Don't go away. The Retirement Advisory Group online at retirementkey.com. Please consider coming to join me. We're having a party or a seminar, but it's really just a matter of perspective, isn't it? I'm going to be there, so I'm going to make it a party. I get there at 6 o'clock. The event starts at 6:30 p.m., and it's happening next Tuesday, February 17th at the Doubletree Chesterfield. I know in prior events we've gone to a different location, so hear me now when I say Tuesday, February 17th at the Doubletree Chesterfield, right off of 64 West and Chesterfield Parkway. Now, we've been at a different location, I think a little bit more south than this in the past. Now we're coming to you folks that are in the Chesterfield area. It's a great event to come to, and this is an opportunity for you to very easily, without any cost of you, other than maybe 45 minutes of your time, learn how to get a free personalized income plan. Understand how to learn the strategies that will give you market growth, but protect you from market losses at the same time. Bob and Tammy Kershaw, Thomas Helbig, these are your people. 314-993-9494 to reserve your spot. Also online at retirementkey.com.
February 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's the semi-annual Missouri Arms Collectors Gun Show at the Arnold Eagles Hall in Arnold, Missouri. Browse tables of firearms, ammo, knives, books, and military items. Buy, sell, or trade. Admission's only $10. Kids under 12 free with a paid adult, and parking is free. Don't miss the semi-annual Missouri Arms Collectors Gun Show at the Arnold Eagles Hall on 1725 Jeffco Boulevard. For complete info, visit MissouriArms.com. The Missouri Arms Collectors Association is a not-for-profit NRA-affiliated club.
I got you something extra special for Valentine's Day.
Yeah?
How does a blow and go sound?
I like it.
Great. Air Comfort Service will be here on Monday.
Wait, what?
Our attic insulation is in bad shape. Air Comfort Service heating and cooling and insulation can top off our insulation with blow and go and make our home more energy efficient. We can save up to 30% on our energy bills.
I love it when you talk savings to me.
Schedule your blow and go attic installation from Air Comfort Service. Visit aircomfortservice.com/blow today.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I call it a draw. Some nights I wish that my lips could build a castle. Some nights I wish they just fall off. But I still wake up, I still see your gospel. Lord, I'm still not sure what I stand for.
Okay, what's the racial breakdown on this, right? Because I think a lot of people make the argument that people of color, non-white Americans, have a harder time procuring a photo ID to vote. But even here, take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So we've heard that, and it's kind of a crazy part of this cycle that we're in, that Nicki Minaj is being considered as one of the people who common sense folks are agreeing with on political issues. Just a weird juxtaposition there. But I want to talk to our friend Hans von Spakovsky about voter ID. Advancing American Freedom, senior legal fellow, former FEC commissioner as well. Hans von Spakovsky is with us right now. Hans, thanks for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. But by the way, it is a patronizingly racist view to say that somehow racial minorities, people who are black, for example, don't have IDs, can't get an ID. I mean, that is just like I said, that's a patronizing racist attitude, and it's been proven to be not true in the 20 years we've now had voter ID laws in place in states like Georgia and Indiana.
You know, Hans, I want to give you an opportunity in whatever context that you want to talk about. I keep hearing Chuck Schumer say Jim Crow 2.0, and I think he's just saying it because it rhymes, because it doesn't really make sense outside of that. I think Jim Crow is something a lot of people hear, but they may not really understand the full context. If you accuse something of being Jim Crow laws, can you talk a little bit about what actually happened in this country, how Jim Crow got put into place a little bit, so that when we catch up to this voter ID conversation, people have a solid understanding historically of what did happen previously in this country?
Look, when Reconstruction ended after the Civil War and federal troops were withdrawn from the South, Southern segregationists, Southern racists who were in local and state governments started reimposing all kinds of discriminatory laws against the newly freed Black citizens. And those kept them from being able to register to vote. It kept them from voting. The Voting Rights Act, passed in 1965, was one of the laws that was put in place to get rid of that, and it worked. Okay, Black Americans aren't kept from registering or voting anywhere in the country, and I always kind of laugh when I hear Schumer saying that, because Georgia has been accused of having Jim Crow 2.0 because it has what the liberals call a strict photo ID card for voting requirement. New York has no ID requirement. Guess which state consistently has higher turnout in elections? State of Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think when Chuck Schumer says that he's really trying to prey upon people who don't understand.
That's right.
What Jim Crow, I think people hear Jim Crow, and this is how bastardized American history has become up to 2026 right now, is you can hear Jim Crow and you think back to slavery, so you think the Republicans did it. Were the Republicans responsible for implementing those Jim Crow laws in the South?
No, it was all Democrats. It was all Democrats. It was Democrats started the Ku Klux Klan. It was Republicans, Abraham Lincoln, who fought the Civil War, and then when the Voting Rights Act was passed, when the Civil Rights Act was passed, it only passed because Republicans overwhelmingly voted for it, whereas all these Southern Democrats tried to stop those two laws from going into force. This is the mid-1960s, 100 years after the Civil War, and Southern Democrats were still trying to keep in place their very segregationist, discriminatory laws.
So when you hear Chuck Schumer saying the Republicans want to go back to Jim Crow, that was a Democrat policy to begin with. That's an interesting thought. So I think last night, the House passed the SAVE Act last night. It was maybe Thomas Massey, the one Republican who voted against the rule or whatever. It's going to go to the Senate right now. And I was just saying before we came to break here to talk to you, Hans, last night I stayed up and watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington because I've seen it come in and out of it, on PBS or whatever it might be over the years. But I was like, I want to sit and watch this movie front to back to understand what a standing filibuster looked like, at least in 1939 to Frank Capra. Right. Do you think that we're headed towards is it going to be a rule change to make it a standing filibuster, or is that already in the rules?
No, it's already there. They've just relaxed things. In essence, what they've done in the Senate is if the minority says, oh, if you bring this bill to the floor, we'll filibuster it, then the majority just doesn't bring it. And that's not the way this bill should be handled. I have written and publicly also said, along with Senator Lee is the one who has pushed this bill in the Senate. Everyone is saying, if Democrats want to oppose this, they should have to stand up on the floor of the Senate and argue against it and tell Americans why they not only don't want voter ID, they don't want verification that people are U.S. citizens when they vote.
Yeah. It's a bit telling to look and see who is against it, because it's not even the Democrats are against the SAVE Act. It's just elected Democrats on Capitol Hill seem to be against it, because it does seem as though it's wildly popular. If we listen to Harry Enton from CNN there, that the majority of a whole bunch of different splices of demographics seem to support this rule.
Right. Oh, yeah. The last poll I saw on this showed that upwards of 80% of Americans supported an ID requirement, and that's across all racial and ethnic groups. Even a majority of Democrats, the constituents of the Democratic Party, they all say, yeah, you should have to show an ID. And look, they talk about poor people not being able to match this requirement. Excuse me, but federal welfare requirements. If you want to apply for public assistance, almost all of those require you to not only prove who you are with an ID, but almost all of them say you have to be a U.S. citizen to apply for benefits. So you have to prove you're a U.S. citizen. So the federal government's already applying this to other programs.
Hans, one thing that I continue to hear is the burden that it places. It's like almost a poll tax on women, married women specifically. I remember when I got married years ago and I had to change my name. It wasn't a fun process. Didn't really love it. Had to go to the Social Security office, the DMV, had to get the marriage certificate from City Hall and all of this stuff. You go through the process to make sure your name is legally changed. Now you're going to need to prove, in order to vote, your birth name and your married name with your marriage certificate. Is that how I understand it correctly?
Well, that's one of the things, but in fact, what the statute says is it has this very open provision in it that says that states have to set up a process so that individuals who don't have all of the different listed documents in the bill, like a Real ID Act driver's license or a military ID or a passport. If they don't have any of that, there has to be a process set up so with other paperwork they can prove it. Keep in mind, Eddie, that this very same argument was made 20 years ago when states like Georgia and Indiana put in the first voter ID requirements, and it proved to be completely untrue.
So do you think that the implementation of this in the long run is like, is it possible that the Real ID, you can have a Real ID and not be a citizen, correct? You don't have, I mean, your
Right.
Real ID is not proof enough that you are a citizen of the country. Is it possible that in the future, with some implementation of, renewals of your Real ID or whatever, that there's a distinction on that ID that might unburden women from having to do this? Or where do you show your documents?
Look, this is easily solved. All states have to do is change their driver's license laws so that when you apply for a driver's license, if you're a citizen, all it has to do is say that on the front of your driver's license.
Citizen.
That's easy. It's not expensive. Anyone who says this can't be done, well, this just because they're opposed to ensuring that only citizens are voting. That ought to be standard in every single state. And why states aren't doing that, I don't understand, except for the fact that maybe they don't want people to know that folks with a driver's license aren't a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, you say you don't understand, Hans, but I know you understand why they don't. Yeah. Hans, last question. I just want you to give us a little bit of a constitutional precursor to the standing filibuster. After watching Mr. Smith Goes to Washington last night, I was researching it a little bit. And I think the big question everyone has is, when do you go pee? Like, if you're going to stand there for, I think, was it Cory Booker just did a 25-hour one, and I read that he pre-dehydrated himself so that he wouldn't have to use the restroom while he was on the floor. I think I was looking at Grok, and it said that there are people who will keep one foot on the floor and have a bucket in like a cloakroom or something. I was like, okay, what does a standing filibuster entail?
Well, if you have to stay on the floor and you have to keep speaking. I mean, if you stop speaking, if you step off the floor, then your time has ended, and the next person can come up and speak. That's why in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, directed by the great Frank Capra, Jimmy Stewart is just completely, totally exhausted and barely able to stand up at the end of his filibuster.
Yeah, totally exhausted. And did he win an Oscar for that? I meant to look for that, but he did such a great job acting in that movie. Right. Well, would they be able to, if one person goes up and takes the filibuster up, can another person filibuster? Like, can they hand off filibusters? How does it become, like, if you have Cory Booker stand up there again and filibuster the SAVE Act, when he's done, when he yields the floor, what's the next move? Could another Democrat stand up and say, well, I'd like to say something for another Democrat?
Yeah, I mean, I believe the rule inside the Senate is that each member gets to speak twice on a bill. Once they've done that, then they can't speak anymore. So, yeah, they could keep this going for quite a while, but I don't think they could keep it going until the November elections. And given the lengthy old age of most of these senators, they don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Hans, we will watch and see what happens now in the Senate as it is out of the House, and we look forward to it. I know that it has your endorsement, so we're appreciative of having you come talk to us about it today. Thanks for being with us, Hans.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Hans von Spakovsky, Advancing American Freedom Senior Legal Fellow, former FEC Commissioner as well, former DOJ lawyer, H. von Spakovsky on X. Let's take a break here. Ryan's going to come back in the studio with us, and Ryan, Ethan, and I will talk about the poll today. Simply, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? Curious if you are glued to it. Yes, you're following it a little bit, or no, you're not following it. If you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, we're broadcasting live right there. You go to youtube.com/at Annie Fry, and you'll see we're broadcasting live. And that live chat portion is where that poll is. But you can also text us your thoughts. Ryan will help get us through some of those. 314-241-9797. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away.
So this is it. I sold my soul for this. Wash my hands of that for this. I miss my mom and dad for this. No. When I see stars, when I see stars, that's all they are. When I hear songs, they sound like a swan, so come on.
HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com. I encourage you to give Matt Hayes a call, 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Matt Hayes, he's eager to take your phone call just to come take a look at what you're dealing with. And a reminder for your foundation repair concerns, your needs, your issues. It's both commercial and residential. So if you've been listening to me and you're serving on the board at church and you know that you've got a foundation problem and you want somebody you could trust to come out who's going to treat you fairly and also effectively solve that problem for you, Matt Hayes is a safe bet at Home Shield Foundation Repair. Call him at 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. And tell Matt Hayes Annie said hello. And then invite him out to see what you're looking at, what you're dealing with, and he can provide you a reasonable solution that you're going to be able to trust because he's a good guy, locally owned family business, right there at Home Shield Foundation Repair. Online at HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
2 St. Louis icons, 1 legendary tribute. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra and St. Louis City SC at Powell Hall on Sunday, February 15th for Eternal, a tribute to Tina Turner. Presented by Purina, with performances by special guests including conductor Anthony Parthener, Grammy Award-winning artist Brittany Howard of Alabama Shakes, and our city's own Kennedy Homes. This is your chance to experience the ultimate journey through Tina's immortal catalog. Tickets are limited. Get yours now at slso.org.
We depend on our roofs to keep us dry and protected year-round. That's why the roofing company you choose is so important. Mark Cox here for my friends at Correll Roofing Company. You can trust my friend Curtis Correll, and here's one thing he'll tell you right now, and it's his experience. A lot of roofing companies will try to install roofs when the temperature is below freezing. And here's what you need to know. Curtis has been praised by a lot of people in the industry because he will not install a roof on those cold days. He said that shingle manufacturers will deny warranty claims if that roof is installed on a sub 40 degree day. Did you know that? That's why honesty is important. If your insurance company has denied coverage for your roof, call Curtis at Correll Roofing. He loves working with insurance companies. He would be happy to get a second assessment from them. Call him at 314-222-9529. Tell him Mark Cox sent you. You can go online anytime at CorrellRoofingCo.com.
The YouTube live chat poll today and big question of the day, as usual, is, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? Yes, a little bit, or no? And I can tell you from the responses that are coming in on the text line, at least, the responses are all over the place. So let us know, and we'll see if it sways it one direction or the other. 314-241-9797 if you'd like to text in your response to that, or you can go to YouTube, of course. 1238. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
From Fenton to Fairview, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This is a story about Billy Joe and Bobby Sue. Two young lovers with nothing better to do than sit around the house, get high and watch a tube. And here's what happened when they decided.
All right, let's do this. Donald Trump is talking. He's making an EPA announcement, and I want to listen in here. Can you pop up the television here? We can hear what he has to say.
Use it where they went to wind, intermittent wind, which is weak and ineffective and very, very costly, most costly energy there is. And people are dying because there was no air conditioning or there was no heating. Lots of other things, bad things happened. And yet this radical rule became the legal foundation for the Green New Scam, one of the greatest scams in history, probably as great, maybe even greater than Russia hoax, etc., which the Obama and Biden administration used to destroy countless jobs. And the jobs have been just decimated. Although they're all coming back because of tariffs, they're all coming back into our country at levels we've never seen before. But it raised prices and caused immense harm to the U.S. auto industry. We thought irreparable, but we've got them back. We're coming back now. I was in Detroit, as you know, with Ford, and they had one of the earliest plants from the early 1900s, and it was going to be closed down. And then when I won, they said, let's keep it open for a little while. Let's see what happens. And they just announced, as you know, they're going 24 hours around the clock with that same plant that was going to be closed because of what we've done. For example, under the endangerment finding, they forced the hated start-stop feature onto American consumers, which unnecessarily shuts off a car's engine when you stop at a red light. In other words, the engine goes off. That's great. The endangerment finding was also used to impose the massive and really very expensive electric vehicle mandate, expensive in the sense that nobody wanted it. Everybody was going to be forced to buy an electric car in a very short period of time, even though you can't power the car because we would have had to spend $5 trillion on power stations. That's all dead, gone, over. These crippling restrictions were a major factor in driving up car prices to unprecedented levels, and the car that you were getting was not nearly as good. In 4 years under the Biden administration, the price of a new and used car rose more than 22%, all to facilitate the Green New Scam without achieving any meaningful impact on the environment, but making the car worse. That is why, effective immediately, we are repealing the ridiculous endangerment finding and terminating all additional green emission standards imposed unnecessarily on vehicle models and engines between 2012 and 2027 and beyond. This action will save American consumers trillions of dollars and will lower the average cost of a new vehicle by close to $3,000. Think of that. During my campaign, I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every new regulation. And we've exceeded that. We've instead done it 10 regulations. We were able to cut 129. So now we cut 129. So think of that. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every new one, but we did more than 10. We did 129. It's something, nobody can even believe it. So we did a lot of regulation cutting in the first administration, a record, nobody even close to it now. We're actually exceeding it in this administration. The biggest one yet that we've done is happening right now. So perhaps no industry has benefited more from our historic deregulation campaign than the U.S. auto industry. We cancel the EPA's absurd, just totally absurd tailpipe emission standards, which was a disaster for automobile manufacturing, and revoked Biden's emissions waiver that would have allowed California to regulate automobiles for the entire nation. And they're crazy out in California. They have nothing but trouble out there, as you know. That's why people are leaving in record numbers. I also ended Joe Biden's extreme CAFE emission standards, saving the average American consumer much more than $1,000 when they buy a new car. But now we're talking about close to $3,000. These regulation cuts, combined with our tax cuts and tariffs, are the reason why the world's largest automakers have announced that they're going to be spending in excess of $100 billion in the United States in the next very short period of time, building new auto plants. We're bringing our auto plants, assembly plants, and factories roaring back to life, not even mentioning AI and all of the other things. We're building thousands of businesses in the United States. And if you remember, on my first day, they said if I could ever get the Dow up to 50,000 in my last year, in other words, in the fourth year, that it would be an unbelievable miracle. But don't worry about it, because it'll never happen, they said. And if I could get the S&P up to 7,000, they said in the fourth year, they said it will never happen. Let's not even talk about it. I have things. Let's not even waste our time talking about it. Well, at the very end of my first year, the Dow hit 50,000. Now it's over 50,000. And 3 days before that, the S&P hit 7,000. So we didn't have to wait till the end of the fourth year. We just waited till the end of the first year. We've never had a country in a position like this, and a lot of it's due to tariffs, and a lot of it's due to the fact that we had a great election, and a lot of good things have been done. One of the good things I did was put Lee Zeldin in charge of our environment. So I'm going to ask Lee to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a big deal. Under President Trump's leadership today, the Trump EPA has finalized the single largest act of deregulation in the history of the United States of America. Referred to by some as the holy grail of federal regulatory overreach, the 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding is now eliminated. This action will save American taxpayers over $1.3 trillion. What that means is lower prices, more choices, and an end of heavy-handed climate policies. With today's announcement, American families will save over $2,400 for a new vehicle. 16 years ago, an ideological crusade within the Obama administration set off the most costly regulatory power grab our country has ever experienced. The 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding led to trillions of dollars in regulations that strangled entire sectors of the United States economy, including the American auto industry. It claimed new powers over the vehicles we drive, even though the best reading of the Clean Air Act clearly states otherwise. The Obama and Biden administrations used it to steamroll into existence a left-wing wish list of costly climate policies, electric vehicle mandates, and other requirements that assaulted consumer choice and affordability. And who paid the biggest price? Hardworking families, small businesses, millions of Americans who just want a reliable, affordable car to get to work, take their kids to school, or go to church on Sunday. The endangerment finding and the regulations that were based on it didn't just regulate emissions. It regulated and targeted the American dream. And now the endangerment finding is hereby eliminated, as well as all greenhouse gas emission standards that followed. The red tape has been cut. Manufacturers will no longer be burdened by measuring, compiling, or reporting greenhouse gas emissions for vehicles and engines. And the forced transition to electric vehicles is eliminated. No longer will automakers be pressured to shift their fleets towards electric vehicles, vehicles that are still sitting unsold on dealer lots all across America. And as a cherry on top, we are ending the federal government's push to get manufacturers to install that Obama switch, the almost universally despised start-stop feature. There will be no more climate participation trophies awarded to manufacturers for making Americans' cars die at every red light and stop sign. It's over, done, finished. Under President Trump's leadership, vehicle manufacturers can once again build what Americans want, not what politicians and bureaucrats in Washington demand. President Trump campaigned on reviving the auto industry, and he continues to deliver win after win after win, ending electric vehicle mandates, getting rid of the Biden Cafe standards with Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy, and securing massive new U.S. manufacturing investments and all of the jobs that come with it. Affordable cars mean opportunity. That means jobs, healthcare, education, and mobility, especially for working families and rural Americans who rely on their vehicles every single day.
If you listen to what the administration here is talking about, Lee Zeldin, the Secretary of Energy, I believe, Department of Energy, EPA administrator, these are real measurable changes that are going to affect people like you and people like me. Average folks who are paying, as you just heard there, on average $2,400 more for a car so that it could meet an Obama green energy standard, which just went poof, gone.
Yeah. Largest deregulatory action ever, according to Lee Zeldin.
Yeah. In the studio, we're like, high fives all around.
This is the kind of stuff that
Yeah.
it's sort of the base level stuff that you voted for a Republican.
If you want to surgically regulate things, I'm not like immediately opposed to a regulation just to be opposed for it. That is my default position, I suppose, but I can listen as to why you want that regulation. But to implement energy regulation the way the incentivized left did for so long, it's cost us a lot of money, and the administration is taking action. Largest deregulation in the history of the government?
Well, it just says ever.
In the
He
history,
said ever.
So not in the history of the government, in the history of all governments.
All governments everywhere in the universe.
In the universe! All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a minute.
Whoa, she slipped away. Billy Joe caught up to her the very next day.
Gosh. You're scratching my Benson Boone itch over here, Ethan.
I didn't know you had a Benson Boone itch.
I think we all do.
No.
Yes, you do.
I do not.
Come on.
Yes, you do.
I do not. I find the man attractive, just as platonically, but...
This is weird.
Yeah,
I don't
it's weird.
particularly, well, in a multi-layered fashion, I don't particularly find him, this is a good example of confidence. Your question of like how big of a deal is confidence? Benson Boone. Do you know a lot about him, Ethan? Benson Boone is the singer you're listening to right now.
He was a contestant on American Idol.
He ran for governor of American Idol.
Up.
Yeah. He wanted to be the president of American Idol.
He ran for American Idol.
And then he ran away from American Idol.
And he was doing really well. He got some really good compliments from Katy Perry. I think like one went viral saying like you could be a star or something like that.
Yeah.
And then his career was taking off so quickly that he voluntarily stepped out, didn't he, of American Idol? And
the little thing that I told you, I asked in an Ask Me Anything question session a few weeks ago, maybe last week, which YouTube algorithm are you in? Kind of randomly. And mine is a Benson Boone algorithm. So I know a lot about him, but just because YouTube's like, I think you'll like this. And I'm like, I think you know me.
You ever see the videos of him doing the flips on stage?
Yes. But like he did flips before he sang. He wasn't a singer. But then he found out kind of by happenstance in high school, right?
Yeah.
He like had to fill in for someone and sing, and he's like kind of like Freddie Mercury in a sense. It's like blasphemous for some people, but I mean he's incredibly talented. And he just the thing I like the most about Benson Boone is he does not take himself terribly seriously.
That's a shame.
I take him very seriously.
Who were the two models at that award show? That he was wearing like a suit and he was sitting at a table.
Heidi Klum,
right?
And maybe I don't know.
I don't remember who the other one was, but he was wearing like a normal suit, and then they helped him rip it off.
Yeah.
And then he goes on stage and does a backflip and sings.
And sings
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Beautiful Things or something. Ryan's like, I could be into it.
I could. I like tearaway shirts a lot.
YouTube live chat. I made a YouTube short on that yesterday.
I saw that.
I'm taking over the YouTube shorts just for your videos.
I kind of thought that you did.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
I did. That was all me. YouTube live chat poll for today. Are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? You can text us at 314-241-9797. This is my way to take the pulse of you as a listener. How deep are you into this? Ryan?
I'm a no. A little bit because of what we do. We're just plugged into the news. But generally speaking, I'm just not paying that close of attention to it.
Ethan?
I'm probably pretty close to where Ryan is.
If you weren't here every day, would you know it was happening?
I would know, but I wouldn't be as in-depth on it. Now, I have people around me that are super hooked on it, and they kind of share the intriguing stuff about it as well, so that helps.
I'm very interested to see how the story ends.
I'll say this about the texting. It is all over the board right now.
314-241-9797. I need to know where you are on this so I know what to do next on this. Deroy Murdock next.
Hi, it's Mark Cox with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Welcome back, Gloria. For years now, you've been on 97.1 helping families plan that next big move with your Guaranteed Sold program. For those planning to sell their home this year, what's your advice for sellers?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home. Our market is stabilizing, inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my Guaranteed Sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, do what I did. Call Gloria Liu right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree upon price and possession date.
CiviaLaw.com, 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL. Have you called Todd Civia yet? I hope, if you haven't, that you'll do it right now. And here's why. Because the first 10 people to call Todd Civia to start the process, to establish that estate plan, to establish a trust, powers of attorney, your will, all of that. The first 10 people to call right now, 833-995-WILL. Offices in Missouri. offices in Illinois. The first 10 people get their strategy session, which is normally a $300 appointment. You just don't have to pay it. They take care of it for you. But you do have to call right now. You can put the appointment on the schedule for down the road when it's convenient for you. But you got to call and mention Annie. 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL. Call Todd Sivia. Talk to him about your concerns, your needs. That strategy session fee is totally waived when you drop my name, 833-995-WILL. Find everything you need to know about estate planning online at civialaw.com.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Home power used to be simple. Now the car plugs in, the scooter plugs in, the space heater plugs in, and your electric panel starts popping.
That sounds bad, but I like popcorn.
Popcorn is great, sparks are not. Call Grasser. We'll upgrade your panel so you can run it all.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
A major rollback at the White House. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Under the process just completed by the EPA, we are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding.
That Obama-era finding that greenhouse gases endanger public health became the basis for federal regulations aimed at fighting climate change. But President Trump says it damaged the U.S. auto industry and drove up prices for consumers. The EPA rollback is expected to face legal challenges. Courts have previously rejected challenges to the 2009 endangerment finding after the Supreme Court ruled in 2007 that greenhouse gases are covered under the Clean Air Act. A federal judge is blocking the Pentagon temporarily for now from punishing a Navy veteran who's now a U.S. Senator over a video made by several lawmakers.
In a blistering opinion, a D.C. federal district judge says Secretary Pete Hegseth is unlawfully chilling speech and the First Amendment rights of Arizona Democrat Senator Mark Kelly. Hegseth censured Kelly after the senator participated in a video with other Democratic lawmakers urging service members to ignore unlawful orders. The censure could lead to a reduction in rank for the retired Navy pilot and reduced military benefits.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. A renewed appeal to Nancy Guthrie's neighbors 12 days after the 84-year-old was reported missing from her Arizona home. An alert to people with Ring doorbell cameras says investigators are asking for footage from specific dates and times. This as potential new evidence is also investigated.
The New York Post reports agents found a black glove resembling the one worn by the person on Nancy's door cam footage. That was located a little less than a mile and a half from her home. Fox News has sources saying it was two gloves. Either way, DNA testing is being done on that find.
Fox's Alicia Acuna in Tucson. America is listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Clouds in control this afternoon with temperatures in the 40s. Clouds dominate tonight, 34. Pretty nice Friday afternoon, 55, but the clouds are back Friday night. Saturday, clouds, rain developing mid to late afternoon, 52. Count on a lot of rain around Saturday night, especially St. Louis South. Sunday, basically a dry day in 57. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. That YouTube poll for us that we have right now, you can come vote and you can tell us, just in general, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? Some people seem to be super into it, some not at all. We want to know where the audience here stands. So go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote there. You remember just a week or so ago when we got to see our former Missouri Attorney General, Andrew Bailey, in Fulton County, Georgia, and they were going through the election centers there, and there was the seizure of some boxes and everything. What's actually happening there? The Fulton County election situation is one that has the attention of a lot of people who've been paying attention to these types of things. Of course, election security is a main topic of conversation in a variety of different ways right now on Capitol Hill, but we're going to talk to our friend Deroy Murdock about that now. Deroy Murdock is a nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador, and Fox News contributor, and our friend here each week on the Annie Fry Show. Deroy, welcome back. It's good to have you with us.
Hey, great to be with you again.
So talk to me about your reaction to what's going on in Fulton County, Georgia. Boy, if you look at the Democrats right now on Capitol Hill when it comes to the SAVE Act, they're saying that if they were to pass the SAVE Act, Chuck Schumer says it's Jim Crow 2.0. I question if he really understands who and what created Jim Crow. But, you know, a lot of circling questions about election integrity are kind of coming to a head right now. I think it's an important moment in our timeline here on election security.
Yeah, it is a crucial moment to have a number of these things, the discussions about election integrity, about vote fraud, about voter ID, citizens voting, all that sort of thing, all wrapped up in the SAVE Act or Save America Act, which passed the House yesterday onto the Senate. We'll see if the Democrats filibuster, if there's any way to bring it to the floor for a vote. Senator Fetterman of Pennsylvania has said he'll support it. So if they can get it to a vote, he votes for it, even if Susan, or I should say Lisa Murkowski or some of the kind of rhino Republicans vote against it, that probably still would at least get it through if there's a tie vote and J.D. Vance can break the tie. I think it's very important, and one of the reasons, one of the illustrations of why this is important is what's going on in Fulton County. I have a piece in the Daily Signal. The headline is FBI's Fulton County election raid better 6 years late than never. And in this piece, I illustrate two things. One is the situation right now, which I think was dramatized pretty jaw-droppingly, if you can say that, by State Senator Greg Dolezal of Georgia. He basically went around and visited some of the places in Fulton County, which is basically greater Atlanta, and showed some of the places where people are registered to vote. For example, there's 1 Street, 850 Oak Street Northwest, 19 people registered to vote there. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. The thing is completely abandoned. It is overrun with weeds and ivy. The windows are either broken or boarded up. The toilet there's 1 bathroom. Supposedly 19 people are sharing 1 bathroom. Go figure. The toilet's broken. The porcelain is coming off the walls. The sink is gone. The bathtub's gone. The ceilings, the plaster in the ceilings is missing. I don't think anybody lives there. That is, barely habitable for rats, much less human beings. And yet, allegedly, 19 people are supposedly registered to vote there. There's another example, which is this homeless shelter at 477 Peachtree Street Northeast. 70 people registered to vote there. That homeless shelter has been closed since 2017. That's almost 9 years ago. And yet people are registered to vote there, getting absentee ballots. God only knows what happens if those ballots end up getting filled out and dropped into the bins or dropped into the mailboxes, because so many of them are mail-in ballots now. So that's a gigantic mess today. What the FBI is focused on is what happened back in 2020. And there's a very interesting, terrifying is really the word, report from the Election Oversight Group, LLC. And they took a deep dive at some of the stuff that went on in Fulton County, Greater Georgia, in the year 2020. Some of these findings are astonishing. 148,000 and change absentee ballots were counted for the 2020 general election, but there are only roughly 126,000 voters recorded as casting ballots. Thus, 22,535 more ballots were counted than voters given credit for voting. That is the textbook definition of stuffing the ballot box. When you have 22,000 more ballots than you have human beings counted as voters. Joe Biden's margin of victory for the entire state of Georgia was only 11,769 votes, roughly 12,000 votes. You got about 12,000 vote margin of victory and almost 23,000 excess number of ballots compared to the voters. Then you've got about 148,000 absentee ballots that were accepted and counted without first performing mandatory signature verification. So the Democrats like to say, don't worry about mail-in ballots. They will do signature verification. This will keep everything hunky-dory. And you've got 148,000 ballots not even checked to see whether the signatures match between what's on the envelopes versus what's recorded by the authorities. And again, Biden won by about 12,000 votes. Then you've got this other interesting fact: 376,000 or so ballots cast in person, both early voting and election day. The ballot images, they take a picture of every ballot, a digital picture for all these ballots, willfully destroyed in violation of both state and federal law. You're going to tell me that that's an accident or some bureaucratic snafu? That might happen to 5, 10, 15, 20 ballots or some little error or something. This is 376,000 plus ballots where the corresponding ballot images were destroyed. So this is very fishy. This FBI raid, I'm glad it took place. It should have happened in 2020 when all this stuff was going on. God only knows what they've covered up over the intervening 6 years. But the FBI, I think, especially in a federal election, has every right to go in and see what kind of nonsense is happening. This stuff, I think, goes well beyond just gross mismanagement and incompetence. It's something that looks to me like pure malice and total illegality. And if people on the left say, "Oh, there's no vote fraud; it's all made up," Andy Fry and Deroy Murdock are just they're high on drugs again. You don't have 376,000 ballots destroyed and 22,000 and change more ballots than voters without something, I think, nefarious going on. I hope the FBI gets to the bottom of it, finds the guilty parties, indicts them, tries them, and throws them in prison for a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through some of these photos that you shared with me on some of these addresses here, Deroy. That Peachtree Street in Atlanta, Georgia, 70 voters there. And you note that on top of the entry way to go into this building where 70 people are supposed to be at this homeless shelter, it says on top of the door, "Danger, do not enter."
Yeah.
This isn't even real.
There, and yet it says, "Danger, do not enter." You can't make this stuff up. I mean, this stuff just sounds like something out of a dark comedy or a Saturday Night Live sketch or something like this. But this is the kind of stuff that goes on. And the left likes to say, well, there's no evidence of widespread vote fraud. You don't need widespread vote fraud. In order to steal the White House, you need to have fraud in basically Las Vegas, not even all of Las Vegas, some of Las Vegas, some of Phoenix, some of Pittsburgh, some of Philadelphia, some of Milwaukee, some of Madison, Wisconsin, and then some of Atlanta. And if you have just enough fraud, so you just squeak by in those states, then you pick up the electoral votes, and you don't have to win 50 states. You just need to win the 7 swing states, and guess what? You're going to be elected president of the United States. So this is deadly serious. This is not just a problem for the people of Georgia. This is a problem for people in all 50 states. If people are going to get elected to the White House and, of course, elected to the Senate and the U.S. House, et cetera, if you have this kind of these kind of monkey shines going on, and the Republicans are interested in getting the bottom of it, Democrats look the other way. They stand in the way. They have no interest in looking into it because this is how they steal elections. And of course, they'd rather steal elections and actually have to fight them and win them on the merits.
Yeah, when I think about what is taking place in Fulton County, Georgia, excited to see what they're able to show and prove based on what I don't know if it's a raid or whatever you want to call it, that just took place within the last couple of weeks. But I think that if you and I are having this discussion, there are people who think that it's only about the 2020 election. And it's really, at this point, not even about the 2020 election. It's about the 2026 midterms and the 2028 presidential election.
That's right.
And to suggest that we would just turn our heads away from the very proof that you have right here, where you've got 70 people registered to vote at from a building that you can't even enter because it's too dangerous. Like, why would if those people were voting Republican, the Democrats would be all in on it, right? It's just simply political, and you can always tell the detractors from, don't look behind the curtain here. That's even more reason why we need to push.
No, absolutely correct. And yeah, you're absolutely right. If this were, let's just say, a country club where you had, 500 people registered to vote at a country club, perhaps, and they were all voting Republican, but they don't really live there. Chuck Schumer would be screaming and yelling. There would be hearings. Maxine Waters would be outside hollering at top of her lungs. Jamie Raskin would be out there yelling along with AOC and the squad, of course. Yeah, if these were Republicans, phantom votes, non-existent voters casting Republican ballots, yeah. There'd be deep concern, and the Democrats would probably be trying to shut down the government in order to put an end to it. But because these phantom voters, or quote-unquote voters, who don't really exist, tend to have be associated with the Democrat ballots, they kind of yawn and look the other way. At best, or at worst, they call us, conspiracy theorists and paranoids and cranks and freaks and of course, Nazis.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, like, on the most basic level, if you've got this Peachtree homeless shelter and you were to purge the voter rolls of these 70 people who obviously don't live there, or to chase down their new address or whatever it might be, if that endeavor were to be sought all the way through, and it caused less votes for one side or the other, but it was fair, why would anybody be against looking at that? And they don't have an answer to that. I guess they've understood the system to be what it is for long enough. It's telling to me that they feel so threatened by just even simply the effort to look at a place like that Peachtree homeless shelter.
Yeah, they have no interest in investigating this. They don't have any interest in having hearings on this. They just want to look the other way. And if you bring this up, they'll say, it's debunk claims. It's not true, and it's a conspiracy theory. Which, of course, if you say conspiracy theory, that's designed basically to tell you to shut the hell up. That's the English language translation for that phrase. They have no interest in going back and looking into any of this, because I think they know if we look into it, they'll be in really deep trouble. And so they just engage in name-calling ad hominem and call people all sorts of nasty names if they talk about looking into any of this sort of thing. And they'll go back to 2020 and say, it's disproved in courtrooms. No. In 2020, as you may recall, the Trump campaign repeatedly tried to get this heard in various courtrooms, and they were always told, you don't have standing. Well, if you're the President of the United States and you're on the ballot and you're trying to see whether or not you won the election, I think you have standing. And in fact, the Supreme Court recently ruled, I think just about a month ago, that candidates, in fact, do have standing in this sort of these sorts of disputes. But because they said you don't have standing, there's no courtroom where this evidence was presented. This evidence was being presented on the House floor on January 6th of 2021 when the big attack on the U.S. Capitol happened, and if that brought everything to a halt, unfortunately. But we still have not had any judicial forum where evidence of the shenanigans that happened in 2020 have been presented in front of a judge and jury to determine if this thing happened and who might be guilty of doing so. I hope with the FBI in there, maybe they will have sufficient evidence to file charges and prosecute people. I don't know if the statute of limitations has lapsed or not, but if it hasn't, then anybody involved in this sort of thing needs to be in handcuffs and sitting in a courtroom, and if guilty, sent off to federal penitentiary for a long time. This isn't cute or funny or colorful. This is basically disenfranchising people. And the same folks who talk about one man, one vote, when you have 70 people at a homeless shelter who don't exist, you've got 138 people registered at a place called physicaladress.com, which is sort of a virtual mailbox enterprise. That's also in Atlanta. Those people aren't there either. This starts to add up. Just off of the rough math I'm seeing, that's about 230 people in Atlanta who will have their ballots canceled out if they vote one way and all these other people vote the other way. These are quote-unquote people who don't exist, these ghosts or phantom voters. So you've got people who work hard and go to the polls and cast their ballots for whomever they think ought to be the leaders of their states, cities, and in our country, and their votes end up getting negated by ballots that are not even cast by human beings, but are cast by fraudsters tied in with these folks who are supposedly registered in these places that either are abandoned, totally empty, fall into the home on Oak Street is ready to collapse. I mean, you can see the pictures that I guess Annie's showing on the radio. That'll be on YouTube as well. In my article, and you'll see it. It's shocking. It's just terrifying to look at these empty, just collapsing this house that looks like it's, if you sneezed on it, it would fall over. And I guess termites live there, but no human beings. And yet people claim to be registered. 19 people claim to be registered to vote there. I mean, that's utter fraud. That's criminal. Anybody who did that, and those people ought to be locked up in prison if they claim to be voting there and they're not.
I just am happy to see that the Department of Justice is investigating it, and it's not nearly as fast as a lot of us would like for it to have happened, but it does seem as though it's in the process, and you are covering it, so we are glad to talk to you about that today. If you were listening to this interview on the radio and you want to see the pictures of some of those homes that Deroy has researched and found where these tens of people, hundreds of people, if you add in that homeless shelter, are registered to vote, it's mind-blowing. Of course people don't live there. They couldn't live there. All right. Deroy, thank you for being with us today. We always love to talk to you, and we look forward to having you back next week.
All right, Amy, very good. Talk to you next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Some people in the chat were like, those look like houses that I used to live in when I was in a band or something like that. They're just full on dilapidated. Some of them don't even have all their walls. It's just unbelievable. But yet they have 19 people living there who are voting. There's probably 50-50 Republican Democrat. It probably would just be a wash anyway, Ethan.
Entirely.
All right, real quick break here. When we come back, the president did take some questions after the EPA announcement alongside Lee Zeldin. We'll get to the question portion of that discussion here in just a minute. And the YouTube live chat poll, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? A lot of texts coming in on this. We would like yours. 314-241-9797. 314-241-9797. You're following it a little bit, or no, you're not following it all. Tell us what you think. We'll be back in a minute.
Learning something new? Experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
When storm damage strikes or it's just time for a new roof, call my friend Cornelius at C. Marion Roofing. This is Ryan Wiggins. I've used him multiple times for roofs and bathrooms. He's licensed and insured for both homes and businesses. Start to finish, he'll handle your insurance claim and get you the job done right, fast, reliable, and with quality you can count on. I can testify to that. Call C. Marion Roofing today, 314-399-2140. That's 314-399-2140. Or type in C. Marion Roofing for all your projects.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon and learn how to create a worry-free retirement with the Retirement Advisory Group. It's coming up on Tuesday, February 17th at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30 p.m. Here are Bob and Tammy Kershaw with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the strategies that give you market growth but protects you from market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get a free personalized retirement income plan? And did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to create a worry-free retirement. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, February 17th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Wait, Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit service.com.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. President Trump was with EPA director. What's his?
I always just call him head of the EPA.
Boss man.
Lee Zeldin.
Administrator?
I think that's what it is.
Czar?
Chief dude?
No, we don't use czar anymore. It's too Russian.
Lee Zeldin. When Obama became the president, first time around, he created a whole bunch of czars. So for people who have maybe come to the show more recently, I started working at 97.1 in February of 2009, and I was the digital brand manager for the station up until 2018 when I became full-time middays. So I have been with 97.1. I think I'm the longest tenured employee that of the 97.1 employees. I'm the person who's been with the station the longest who's left. Worked with incredible people over the course of those years and missed quite a few of them, but been able to stick around and keep this thing, be a part of this thing continuing on, and grateful to do that. But it's funny to me to think, like, this seems like forever ago. I was the digital brand manager, which is to say that I managed the website and I did graphic design and digital promotions and stuff like that for the station. And one of the first things we did in 2009 was have a feature on the website where you could nominate yourself to be czar of something.
You know what? I think I remember that as a listener.
Really?
Vaguely.
I don't even remember which show we used to talk about it, but I had a whole list. I mean, like, if you're listening right now and you're George and Fenton, you could be czar of ice cream sundaes. Of what?
Fenton.
Fenton, yeah. I mean, heck,
Czar of Fenton.
Might not be.
Okay.
And people were sending me emails, and I had to manually update the website with every listener who was emailing in, nominating themselves to be czar of fill in the blank.
The mayor of Fenton is like, dang it.
What would Ryan
Why didn't I
be?
think of that?
What would Ryan be the czar of?
I don't know. Maybe you could text us at 314-241-9797, and I will manually update the website.
I can already tell you. It would be Labubu's.
Ew.
I don't know.
I hate Labubu's. Anyway, the president with Lee Zeldin, who is the czar of the EPA, which is what we've determined here.
Oh, yeah, back to that.
Back to that. That's how we got there. Sometimes we do this, and then I'm like, no idea where I was going with that. And then if you are listening and you notice that, you're like, I wonder how she's going to tie this back in. Sometimes I don't ever get there because I don't remember how we started.
The really good ones, though, are the ones where we go off track for like 10 minutes.
And then I bring it
back?
back?
You come back, you're like, oh, yeah.
That's right. I got to try to make it seem like I was doing it on purpose the entire
Like with
time.
Andrew McCutcheon yesterday.
That was a good example.
I had people messaging me compliments on that segment, particularly how frustrated you were, Ethan.
You got me there.
I digress. Let's go to the press conference that took place after the announcement, massive deregulation of an Obama-era energy government regulation, which they just said, nope, we're done with that, no more. President Trump took questions. Let's listen in.
Yesterday, has your thinking changed at all as it relates to these negotiations with Iran?
No, we have to make a deal.
With Iran?
We have to make a deal, otherwise it's going to be very traumatic. Very traumatic. I don't want that to happen, but we have to make a deal. They should have made a deal the first time, and they got Midnight Hammer instead. And this will be very traumatic for Iran if they don't make a deal. Look, if they don't make a deal, then it'll be a different story. But we had a very good meeting yesterday with Bibi Netanyahu, and he understands, but it's ultimately up to me. If the deal isn't a very fair deal and a very good deal with Iran, then it's going to be I think a very difficult time for them in the back. I guess over the next month, something like that. Yeah, it shouldn't take, I mean, it should happen quickly. They should agree very quickly, yeah.
We might be heading into a partial government shutdown. When was the last time you spoke with Chuck Schumer, and do you still feel Democrats are negotiating in good faith?
Well, a week ago I spoke, but we have to protect our law enforcement. Actually, the Supreme Court gave a ruling, or one of the courts gave a very big ruling on masks, that you have the right to use them, for personal protection if you want. So I don't know how that interjects. They want our law enforcement to be totally vulnerable and put them in a lot of danger. They have some things that are really very hard to approve, frankly. As you know, it's only pretend. We had various of the other bills, that's all done, but we're left with this one. We have to protect our law enforcement, very important. Please.
Why does Prime Minister Netanyahu want you to stop negotiating with Iran?
He is, you're saying stop entertaining, stop talking to them? Didn't say that, we didn't discuss that. I'll talk to them as long as I like, and we'll see if we can get a deal with them, and if we can't, we'll have to go to phase two. Phase two will be very tough for them. I'm not looking for that.
Mr. President, there are currently 0 Israeli hostages left in Gaza because of you. Thank you for that. And now that the war is ending in Gaza and Israel, I wanted to ask, do you believe Bibi bears any responsibility for the security failures that we saw on October 7th?
Well, October 7th was a rough time, and I guess everybody's responsible. It's you to look, but it was a terrible attack. It was a sneak attack. It was as violent as unfortunately, I've seen some of the results at levels that probably even you, good reporter, but probably you haven't seen. It was a horrible thing that took place. People were surprised. It was a surprise attack. Nobody saw that coming. He didn't see it coming. Nobody else would have seen it coming if they were in his position, I don't believe. But I can tell you he's been a very good wartime prime minister. He's been very strong. We've worked with him very well. We had tremendous success with Iran and everything else we've done. And he really has been. He's been, extraordinary as far as a wartime prime minister. Not easy. And, you have a president that refuses to give him a pardon. I think that man should be ashamed of himself. A pardon over this trial that's going on. The president of Israel, the primary power he's got is the power to give pardons. And he's not, he said he's given it 5 different times, but he doesn't want to do it because I guess he loses his power. I think the people of Israel should really shame him. He's disgraceful for not giving it. He should give it. But Bibi's been a great wartime prime minister, and I've been the best friend to Israel I think that they've ever had. A lot of people say beyond presidents that they've ever had, and we will continue to be. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, voter ID polls very well nationally. Even the majority of Democrat voters want it.
Right.
So why do you think Senate Democrats are resisting the SAVE Act, and what is your strategy and realistic pathway to getting the SAVE Act passed to ensure free and fair elections for the next generation?
It's such a great question. I appreciate it, actually, because it's called the Save America Act. We've changed the name. It's the Save America Act, and the Democrats are against it. I heard one of them say, we will stop the Save America Act. No, we're trying to save America. And it has to do with largely voting. And basically, it's got 3 very simple points. It's got voter ID, photo ID, but voter ID with a photo, right? It's got the confirmation of U.S. citizenship. You have to be a citizen. So you have a vote, you have an ID. That's about a 99% one. And I think 90% with Democrats. Then you have confirmation U.S. citizenship. That's about a 99% one with Republicans, about 86% with Democrats, except Democrat politicians because they cheat on elections. And then you have no mail-in ballots. And it would be no mail-in ballots, very important. We're the only country in the world that does a system like we do. We're the only country in the world that has mail-in ballots. The way we do this is unbelievable. It guarantees cheating. So it's no mail-in ballots with the exception of disability, illness, military, or if you're traveling, you can get an exemption. If you happen to be out of the country for a good reason, you can have an exemption. So with exceptions, it's no mail-in ballots, and that will assure the security of our crooked elections. We have crooked elections, yeah.
fired or disciplined that staffer who posted the video from your account that included the Obamas?
No, I haven't. That was a video on, as you know, voter fraud, and fairly long video, and they had a little piece and had to do with the Lion King. It's been very well, it's been shown all over the place long before that was posted. But that was a very strong, and I'm sure you saw it, a very strong piece on voter fraud. And the piece that you're talking about was
a Harbor Freight store in your neighborhood where we sell hard.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, were you aware that Secretary of Commerce visited Epstein's Island, and do you continue to have...
No, I wasn't aware of it. No, I didn't. I actually haven't spoken to him about it. I wasn't. But from what I hear, he was there with his wife and children. And I guess in some cases, some people were. I wasn't. I was never there. Somebody will someday say that. I was never there. Yeah, please.
This announcement that you made today, Mr. President, comes on the heels of a January jobs report that smashed industry expectations.
Smashed all records.
In the big feature of that was you re-privatizing the economy, an economy that was bloated with federal employment under the previous president. What's your message to Americans following this jobs report that smashed industry expectations? Is this just a sign that the best is yet to come?
Thank you. The jobs report's amazing in certain ways because we have tremendously fewer federal employees, way down. And now I could have left them and added to what we did, and we would have had almost 100% employment. I could have gotten a great kick out of the fact that we're 100% employed. But we got rid of tremendous numbers of federal workers, and they hated me for it. Now they love me because most of them have gotten jobs in the private sector for 2 and 3 times more money than they were being paid by the federal government. We had some jobs where you had 10 workers for one job. 10 workers for a job that one person should be doing. And we've gotten rid of a lot of those jobs. And by getting rid of them, these people became available to work in the private sector. And as you know, the numbers are incredible. So the job numbers are incredible. The financial numbers are beyond belief. Again, they thought it couldn't be done in 4 years, and I did it in 1 year. And the numbers you're going to see is these, I don't know if you notice also construction numbers, the jobs for construction workers. You know why? Because they're building plants all over the United States. That's why. And when these plants open in a year from now, some sooner, some a little bit later, but when these auto plants, AI plants, and thousands of other types of plants, when they open over the next period of a year, year and a half, you're going to see numbers like we've never seen before in this country. Thank you very much, everybody.
So President Trump speaking there from the White House after the EPA announcement alongside Lee Zeldin and taking a variety of questions that we were happy to be able to dip into there. And, you know, what he was saying at the end there, the jobs report that came out, fantastic for it. The real magic in the jobs report is that being so much better than projected, they're private sector jobs. They're not jobs that you, as a taxpayer, have to pay for. The amount of public sector jobs that have been cut from our government, which every single public sector job, now we can discuss the merit of each and every one of those different public sector jobs, but it has to be the grief to dollar ratio conversation has to take place with that. Is that job existing worth you taking less of your paycheck home? And if it's not, then it needs to be refined. Everybody else in the private sector, all of us, have been facing consolidation over the course of decades, refinement, efficiency, layoffs, those types of things. But the public sector, the government jobs, they only get more and bigger. Why is it that if you're in the public sector and you're living off the fruit of the land of the private sector, why do those jobs never have to face what we in the private sector have to face? Well, now that reckoning has set in. Public sector jobs have been decreased, but private sector jobs are far outpacing expectations. Pretty good stuff right there. All of these different type of economical policies that are now coming to fruition, laying the groundwork and the foundation for the economy to take off even more than it already is right now. You're listening to a press conference there. Did you hear there was a situation where Caitlin Collins, CNN's Caitlin Collins, they were on a foreign trip. Did you hear about this? She got kicked out of a opportunity to ask questions.
This is new to me.
Yeah. And then Carolyn Levitt got involved, and you're going to want to hear how Caitlin Collins spoke about Carolyn Levitt, the White House press secretary. Did she come to her defense, or did she lay the groundwork for Caitlin Collins at CNN to be ousted? We'll show you that video and play that sound for you when we come back here on the Annie Fry Show. Are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? That's the YouTube poll for today. Come vote on the Annie Fry YouTube live broadcast and text us your thoughts at 314-241-9797. We'll be back right after this.
I want to scream at the top of my lungs. I just found out there's no such thing as the real world. Just a lie, you got to rise above.
Doesn't it feel like you hear all the time from retired friends and family, I wish someone had told me this before I retired? Or why didn't anybody tell me this? Why is this not a class? Well, that's exactly why Financial and Tax Architects was founded. FTA keeps hardworking families in St. Louis make sense of retirement. They show them how to keep more of what they've earned and how to make it last. That way you can get some sleep at night. You don't have to second guess every expense leading up to retirement. You understand what's going on. Their Retirement Planning 101 class is a practical, no-cost course. They teach it at local colleges. It's just one night. You learn strategies to reduce taxes, plan your income, make confident decisions about Social Security and taxes and inflation. And FTA focuses on education. They try to change the way you retire. Call 888-5101 or go to fta-ria.com to register.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
Today's poll, the YouTube live chat poll, is: are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? A couple of texts that have come in, 314-241-9797. There's a lot of them, but this is just a couple that I'm highlighting here. It says, yes, following the Nancy Guthrie story and can't get enough of it. Totally want her to be okay. And then right below that is one from somebody who says no, because if it was one of us, they wouldn't care. So what do you think about this story? You following it? Let us know. That's the subject of the poll today. It is 1:40. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Super Bowl halftime show that Ethan and I could get together on. Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, Chris Stapleton. You just see people who can partner with other people and features. Where the headliner is the headliner, but the story ends up being like, oh, could you believe that such and such was on the stage?
Yeah, the medleys is the most fun part of the shows.
Yeah. This far, 4 days away from the halftime show, I think the biggest takeaway, not from any political angle whatsoever, just the Bad Bunny halftime show in and of itself, that is interesting to me is how, everyone's like telling me this, like I hadn't had this original thought, but of course Bad Bunny was a play. Let me fix that word. A play to get the global audience. So much so, who the people that the NFL said pound sand to the most? The people spent thousands of dollars to sit in that stadium.
Yeah, they didn't care.
No, well, they couldn't like even tell what was going on.
No, you couldn't. It was all for TV.
You know, you had mentioned the halftime show for Turning Point, like you'd like to see him play to a live audience and everything. That does not look it's not as entertaining to watch something that's a huge, big performance that's, playing to the whole stage. And then I went and saw Michael Jackson's halftime show where he sings We Are the World. And they go, do you remember this? They go around the stadium. It's like a bowl arena. I don't remember which stadium it's in. But they all...
the Rose Bowl.
You know what? I think it might have been because that's exactly the type of stadium that it looks in. Big open stadium, like not like any of the arenas they're building right now.
I think that was at the Rose Bowl.
And they all he starts singing. You hear the Heal the World, Make It a Better Place song starting to play. And then you start seeing from section to section to section, everyone's holding up the sign that they've been given to hold up. And it's all these like cartoon, like stick figure children in different colors, different skin colors and everything, holding hands, but it goes all the way around the Rose Bowl. And they've got choirs and groups of people, and everybody's so happy. And it is the same, the message. What was the Bad Bunny thing? Like, the only thing stronger than hate is love, or more powerful than hate is love. It's a good message.
At face value, it certainly is.
Correct. The problem is that the NFL is like, all right, all you hateful people, sit down and listen.
Exactly.
And then you're like, Bad Bunny is going to teach you a lesson. I don't know that the NFL is really thinking that way. It's the stooges of people afterwards who are like, I think the world's going to be okay because Bad Bunny played a halftime show. No, it's not. It's also not going to not be okay because Bad Bunny played a halftime show. Like, we'll live. Most of us have moved on from there anyway. But I just go back and I look at the halftime show that Michael Jackson did. And I also highlighted the 2003 Super Bowl after when U2 did it. And U2 had I don't remember the song that they were singing, but they were, I think, scrolling the names of the people who died in 9/11. But they utilized the stage was the stadium. The stage for Bad Bunny was a video production, which they executed very well. I was amazed at Bad Bunny's ability to hit all of his marks looking into the camera, like between the grass or sugar, whatever cane. I don't know what it was, that all those bushes. They did it perfectly, what they were trying to do. It just was the production was small in such a huge venue that the people standing in the stands were like, time to get a beer.
Yeah, they made a choice. They said, we're going to make a show for the 130 million or whatever it is instead of the 120,000.
Yeah, which is a choice, and I did I think that what they set out to do, they executed very well. But you leave some things behind when you do that. And I don't know that they're even mad about those choices.
I'm just proud of us because we said on Thursday we're devoting the entire show to the halftime show. And we haven't quite gotten there, but we're getting there.
Okay.
And I want to keep doing this the whole 2 o'clock hour.
The YouTube live chat poll, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? You said that you've got some text on that. You just read a few. We'll continue to read those. 314-241-9797 if you want to text us your thoughts on it. 314-241-9797. You can also comment on the live broadcast of the Annie Fry Show right now. Real quick, Ethan, are you following the Nancy Guthrie story?
Yes, but I don't know how much I would be if I wasn't here.
Are you voting a little bit or are you voting yes?
Yeah, I'm probably voting a little bit.
Is the reason you're not following it more because you don't have the time to do it, or is it because you don't have the interest to push more into it?
A little bit. It's probably a little bit of both. It's also just dragged out now for a while. So at the point where I'm like, okay, when there's new information, I'm more intrigued.
So the fact that it's drawn out a little bit more, does that make you want to know more or want to know less? Like you're getting tired of the story, or now you're like, gosh, this is getting more interesting?
I'm kind of getting tired of the story because there's not enough new information. Now, when the doorbell camera footage came out, I was like, oh, okay, we're getting somewhere. This is a little bit more interesting. And now it feels like it's dragging out a little bit again.
Ryan?
I am a no because it's just not breaking through for me. I watch enough news that I'm having to pay attention a little bit. But I will say this, of all the comments that we're getting on the text line, 314-241-9797, there is almost nobody saying a little bit.
Yes or no?
It is It's like people typing in no and they're almost not mad about it, but just adamant. Or absolutely, I'm consumed with this story.
And that's kind of where we've had off-air discussions about my theories and philosophies on it. I don't want to be what if this were an online only venture that I had right here, it'd be like engagement farming. Unfortunately, with radio, if 1 million of you are listening or 2 of you are listening, I don't have a great way to tell.
We don't really know.
I can't really talk more about it, but I don't really have a great way to tell. If it's online,
there's more than 2 because we have a lot of texts.
Yes, it's good to hear. But I could be giving you regular updates on this, and I really have kind of shied away from doing that simply because I don't want to be pumping this story for attention for me. Ugh. I am praying for Nancy Guthrie, though, and I hope you are as well. So keep throwing your votes this way on the YouTube channel. We've got over 200 votes right now, which is pretty good for this point in the show. And I have to say that the votes are pretty divided as well. So I don't know if I'm going to get a mandate as to, Annie, don't ever mention Nancy Guthrie again on the show. Or, Annie, if there's an update and if there's a huge development in the story, are you like listening to the Annie Fry show, you want me to stop what I'm doing to say huge development in the Nancy Guthrie story? That's kind of where I'm leaning, like, where do I go with this?
I'm going to read just 2 quick comments because they highlight exactly what we're saying here. One says, not listening at all. Not saying it's not important. It is not on my list. Right afterwards, a person says, regarding the poll, I'm a yes. First thing I check every morning, last thing I check every night.
That's who I am.
Polar opposites.
That second texter is where I am personally, and I'm just kind of juggling, what do I do here for you folks? Because you guys are the ones that matter. All right, quick break. Got one more segment here. Trying to do some math. We'll be back quickly. Don't go away. AirComfortService.com. Service calls, emergency service for your HVAC needs. 24/7 service right there at Air Comfort Service. 314-513-0091. That's the phone number when you discover that you've got a furnace concern. Maybe you know your HVAC system as a whole is going to need some work before the AC needs to get flipped on. Gosh, we're kind of close to that right now. It's mid-February. We get to say that. So if you know that you have some sort of maintenance that needs to be done, you need to call that number. But I really encourage you to throw the Air Comfort Service phone number into your phone for when emergency service becomes necessary for you, for a loved one who maybe you're helping take care of. You know the people you can call who you can trust that very first time that you call them. They're not going to take advantage of you, and they're going to get you in your comfort zone, solve that problem for you quickly. 24/7 emergency service with Air Comfort Service. The number to call, put it in your phone, scratch it down, 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Mark Cox here. I get to attend President Trump's State of the Union address, and I'm taking you with me. We'll have real-time reaction and the Mark Cox Morning Show live from the Fox News D.C. Bureau, February 24th and 25th, sponsored by Corel Roofing and Golden Oak Lending.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal. where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
The 90s just... Does this sound like... Let me ask you, Ethan. Ethan, how old are you?
25.
25. What a great age 25 is, especially if you're a man.
I don't know why, but okay.
I can
Seems like
explain
you'd
it.
be fine if you were a 25-year-old woman.
No. I was going to say that's baby making time, but like baby carrying time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Which naturally means it is a great time to be a 25-year-old man.
Man. Yeah.
Guess so.
I had Charlie when I was 25 years old. Are you ready to be a dad?
Hey.
Ethan, you're 25. Jared was 26 when we had Charlie. I totally Ethan, you sit this one out. Ryan,
all right.
Wouldn't Ethan be a great dad?
I really want to hear this.
You can't even.
I hate that question
because you have to answer it honestly.
Obvious yes. It's an obvious yes.
Because
freaking Ethan, you would be a really cool dad.
Is it like when you think about what it takes to be a father, Ryan? Because
you'd
have
love
3.
it too.
Oh, he would be the best dad because Ethan understands what's important.
He's got his priorities straight.
And if you think about if Ethan outside, he wants to say mean things to you, but this is so important that he can't. Which is why I told you to sit this one out because I knew it would go this way because he's absolutely right. But when you think about 25-year-old men, you kind of think of like dopes, right?
Heck yeah.
But that's not Ethan. Not when it counts.
Okay.
Not when it counts. Kind of like you.
This is killing him. This is killing him.
Fair.
Ethan, would Ryan be a good dad? You want to turn about fair
would
play?
I? Theoretically.
I just think that like at 25, I had Charlie when I was 25 years old. And I think about like as a 41-year-old right now, I think that 25 feels like I was a baby. Babies having babies.
Babies having babies, man.
But 25 years old, like my grandma, I think she got married. My mom's mom got married at 19. I mean, she probably had several kids by the time she was 25. But I am like, I'm like the youngest, close to the youngest mom of my son's peer group.
That has to be that sentiment that, oh my gosh, they seem so young to be having children and they're 32. That has to be universally experienced by every generation above the one that's having babies.
Yeah, probably. It's just like, it's the whole kids these days.
Yep.
Every generation thinks kids these days.
Yep.
Because kids these days.
Yep.
Anyway, babies.
Having babies.
Having babies. I'm on the other side of that.
This whole Trump accounts thing is
it's an incentive.
Getting you a little frisky?
A little bit.
Quick, Rick.
Hey, listen, Hannah.
Quick, Rick. Yeah. You know what I said last time we talked about this? I'm still uncomfortable about thinking about the way that came out.
He walks in a robe. Hannah, have you heard about Trump accounts?
Quick, Rick said, Annie, how would you feel about giving birth at your current age? Oh my gosh. I had, give me another minute, so I can finish this thought. Thank you. I had Molly. She's 4, and it's 26. She was born in 21, so I was 84, 6, 7. I was 37 years old when I had 30, maybe 38 when I had Molly. Listen, when you get to be 35, they actually, I think it's 35, they actually refer to you as geriatric when you're pregnant. And I'm like, you watch your mouth. If I could get off this table and move fast at all, you'd be in big trouble.
Give me my walker and I'll show who's geriatric.
Slow down, I'm coming after you. But physically, man, I know that you guys don't understand this. I do know that you respect it, especially since you've watched your wife carry twins. It's so physically hard to be pregnant. And I just do not want to do that again. I don't think I can.
Annie wants is another baby. She loves being pregnant.
Babies. Pregnancy. Babies. But I can't wait for Ethan. Get to it, man. Get to it. Good segment.
$1,000.
Good segment,
get off
guys.
here and make a call.
Good. Home Shield Foundation Repairs.com, the website for you to go look and see all of the services provided to you by Matt Hayes and his stellar team at Home Shield Foundation Repair. They do a lot when it comes to your foundation. So if you have any sort of structural foundation concern, the first call I want you to make, Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repair. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. 9900. Matt Hayes understands how to look at your unique situation and provide you a solution tailored to you. And he's got, depending on the service, warranties that back up his work, and he is top notch. You ask people, go look at the reviews for Home Shield Foundation Repair. He is sought after by folks who have these types of issues just like yours. So when you call him, you're going to be in the very best of hands. Call Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900 for your wet basement, uneven concrete, foundation concerns. 314-271-9900, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
Change in the fight against climate change. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Trump administration rescinding an Obama-era government declaration that's been used to regulate greenhouse gas emissions.
The single largest deregulatory action in American history. That's a big statement in American history.
President Trump says the 2009 finding that greenhouse emissions endanger public health led to costly restrictions on car makers. His EPA administrator says it was overreach, never authorized by Congress. The Sierra Club calls the rollback a brazen assault on public health. Homeland Security funding fails to clear a procedural hurdle in the U.S. Senate, meaning a DHS shutdown is likely tomorrow night when current funds run out.
Just after that test vote went down, you had Katie Britt, the Republican senator from Alabama, come to the floor and try to get what they call unanimous consent, where they agree on the spot, all 100 senators, for a 2-week interim spending bill for DHS, and that was objected to by Chris Murphy, the Democrat from Connecticut. So this means that there's about 61,000 TSA employees who would not be paid during this shutdown, and also about 20,000 FEMA employees. And because Congress is expected to be out for the next 8-9 days, that means the government shutdown probably runs for at least a week or two.
Fox's Chad Pergram. Democrats want significant reforms in immigration enforcement. Investigators in Arizona now requesting video footage from the month leading up to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
Investigators are requesting all video footage that includes vehicles, vehicle traffic, people, pedestrians, and anything neighbors deem out of the ordinary or important to our investigation. And they sent this alert out via the Neighbors app to a 2-mile radius around Nancy Guthrie's home.
Fox's Alicia Acuna in Tucson. Savannah Guthrie posting home videos early from her childhood, writing they'll never give up on her. America is listening to Fox News.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do? My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Clouds in control this afternoon with temperatures in the 40s. Clouds dominate tonight, 34. Pretty nice Friday afternoon, 55, but the clouds are back Friday night. Saturday, clouds, rain developing mid to late afternoon, 52. Count on a lot of rain around Saturday night, especially St. Louis South. Sunday, basically a dry day in 57. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for spending some of your afternoon with us. Can we just dip in here real quick before we get to Wiggins America, which we postponed to here because Ryan's going to, is it love advice? What are you giving us? Valentine, some.
Guys, this is non-traditional ways to celebrate Valentine's.
Okay. How about Pitchers and Catchers Report Week? That's what we do in the Fry House.
That's not on this list.
That's because.
That is non-traditional.
They don't, is this careeraddict.com?
No.
Okay.
But it's similar.
Real quick, let's just dip into the live Fox coverage with a couple of updates here with the Nancy Guthrie case.
Thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I know it's frustrating and for the public to watch law enforcement work this way, but sometimes we don't have all the information. Now, keep in mind, we're bringing in 18,000 reported leads so far since that video's been released. And what's happening is they're also getting updated information. Hey, I saw a vehicle stopped over here on the side of the road. Hey, I noticed this little object over here. And so you're seeing the tasking of agents on actionable intelligence to go and collect that new information. But I agree, it is frustrating to see all these things that should have been or could have been done earlier. But in hindsight, we have to always trust the law enforcement. But I still believe, based on the beginning of this investigation, that things started way too slow. And some reporting is that there was a disconnect between the sheriff's office and the FBI, which is unacceptable. We don't have time of luxury. We have to move quickly on this case. So I can see why it's frustrating.
So that's Red McEachern, who is former FBI, talking about the coverage of this. This is where I have been intrigued by it, but also frustrated by it, but also not wanting to Monday morning quarterback this because I don't know how to do an investigation. So I see these people who come on and they're like, what were they thinking? And I'm like, how do you know what they're supposed to be doing? So it's just, there are so many eyebrow raising moments as to why is this happening like this? What is going on with this? Why are they doing that? That I don't want to become part of being like I said, an armchair Monday morning quarterback situation where I'm weighing in on something that I have no jurisdiction on, but where the hell is Nancy Guthrie?
Just as far as consuming this as a individual, not as part of media, there is a bell curve here for sure. In that as it starts to develop, you go, oh, maybe they'll find her really quick, and you're not that interested. The further it goes, the more you go, oh, this is actually getting pretty interesting. What happened? She's really gone. It's been several days. Then at some point, and Ethan kind of hinted at this, it's going to go back over the top of that bell curve. And I'm just talking about consumption here. I'm not talking about the actual case. that it starts to go down the other side to where there's just no leads. It's not going anywhere.
The possibility does exist that we never find anything out.
Right.
Which is mind-blowing.
And, that's a couple weeks from now, people going, oh, that's still a thing. Well, I guess they're just never going to find her, and the interest wanes.
Rick comments on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, if you want 24/7 coverage of the Guthrie kidnapping, try Nancy Grace. Absolutely not. I can't handle Nancy Grace at all. Like, that is what I am trying. Nancy Grace is probably the foundational reason why I'm worried to cover this.
That's the only thing I ever watch. You know how people sometimes
Grace
sleep
channel?
to Christian music because they think it brings them peace?
Nancy Grace. No one has ever said that about that lady.
That's what I do.
The way she leans into the camera, forehead first, scowls at you, and I'm like, I promise I did not kidnap her. I feel bad. I feel guilty.
That's why I love me some Nancy G.
Wiggins America.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
Non-traditional ways to celebrate Valentine's Day, you guys.
These aren't dirty, are they?
They're all dirty.
Oh, no.
And they're graphic.
Thank you, Ethan.
This is going to be 10 minutes of graphic explanations about babies are made. No, they are... They are
super duper.
Very nice. Like this one, the first one. Write a love letter.
Oh, God.
Take a moment to pen a heartfelt note to your partner, a friend,
Pin
or
it to
even
your
yourself.
partner? That's a little pin the tail on the donkey action right there. Come here.
I need a
Come here, woman.
Whoa, he's coming at me with
Get
a tag.
over here.
Yeah, but it's because I love you, and I wrote this.
I want to say I'm going to prick you, but can you do that?
Save it. Hey, see? Now we're getting there. Save it as a keepsake or send it as a surprise.
Save it?
Yeah, forever.
Like the one you write?
The one you write, yeah. Once you give it to your spouse.
Then say give it back. I wanted to keep it.
Then you put it in a bin in the basement so that in 40
You ever
years,
written
when
your
they're
wife-
gone, yeah.
Have you ever written your wife a love letter?
Probably. I've written her short little love notes, but not a letter.
Does she like them?
Yeah, she's kept all of them. Some of them are still in our fridge from back before we were.
When was the last time you wrote her a love letter?
They would be little like Post-it note love letters. So
Are they personal?
Yeah, they're usually something kind of funny and enjoyable. Or
Does she think they're funny?
Yeah, she thinks they're funny. She thinks they're hilarious. I'm so funny.
Ethan, you ever written Mrs. Hannaford
We wrote
a love letter?
We wrote a lot for each other when we were dating, but once we locked each other up, we were like, nah, this is dumb.
I'm writing a full love novel to her right now.
No, you're not.
Technically, it's a novel that's a horror novel, but I'm saying
a
a
horror
At the
novel.
beginning, you're going to say for Katie.
So it's a whole trilogy that's going to be
My
for her.
muse.
Yeah, for my muse. I don't even say her name. For the one I love.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is just ree.
You all know who you are.
All of you. Mainly you, though.
Meet you at the park at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. You just sit and watch.
More non-traditional ways to celebrate Valentine's Day. Take a scenic walk. This is actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Spend quality time outdoors, as long as it's nice, exploring a local park, beach, that's a nice vacation, or trail. Fresh air, nature, and movement can be just as romantic as candlelight. Andy's having a good time.
I'm reading our
Not really
listeners'
sure why.
comments, but not on the air.
No, I can't
Go
read
on.
that on air.
Hey,
That's
it's supposed to be topic.
Horror.
Oh, it's supposed to be rainy on.
It is. I think Saturday night's supposed to be like super rainy.
Oh, no.
Home Shield
Yikes.
Foundation Repair 314-271-9900 if that made you nervous.
Well, the
For
next
going on a
one
walk.
is put on some ponchos and get out there and take a freaking scenic
Slip
walk.
and slide in only a poncho.
You'll love this one.
Only a poncho.
A see-through poncho.
See-through poncho slip and slide for Valentine's Day.
Babe, look.
That's how babies are made.
No.
Those two people do it on that public trail.
Expanding their family.
Honey, that's how we perpetuate the race. All right, next one.
Joe says women are super turned on by a long February walk. When you put it that way, Joe.
It's true. This one is specifically for Annie. Create a memory scrapbook.
Oh, hell.
Print out photos with your partner.
If I handed Jared, if I made a scrapbook and handed it to him,
Oh.
he'd be like,
Thanks.
are you okay?
Look at page 3.
Is somebody making you do this?
It's an avocado.
It's a picture of just two
Thanks.
hands holding.
Okay.
It represents me and you. It's not our hands.
It's the
Say
picture.
I.
When you buy the picture frame, that's the picture that's in the frame.
Wouldn't that be awesome to scrapbook just
a whole bunch of those
those?
pictures. Moments of love.
See that beautiful family
black
right there?
and white hand holding.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, representative pictures of racial harmony.
Our love transcends all boundaries.
Even ones that have nothing to do with us. How about throwing a cocktail party?
Why?
Either for just you two, which would be kind of fun, or you could have your friends come over too. Dress up, enjoy fancy drinks in the comfort of your own home.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Okay, fine. I'll move on.
Does that, when you hear that, does that just, I mean, when you think about, Ethan, you don't have kids, but you have a fairly new bride.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go out and do dates?
Not as much as we probably should.
Do you now? Let me ask you a question to follow up, because you say it's probably should. Is that outside pressure making you feel that way, or do you feel like you should take her out more?
No, or
she should take you out more?
I feel like yes, that.
You don't have to spend money doing this stuff, though.
No.
Take a scenic, naked walk in the rain.
Oh, you're gonna have to spend some money to get out of jail.
Gonna make another call.
Who's your first phone call?
Me.
No, I wouldn't
in
call
jail?
Ryan. You in jail? Who you calling first?
I mean,
That's
my
a good
wife.
ask me anything question.
Probably
No,
she's
you were in
jail
jail
with you.
together.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was your date.
got it.
Yeah. It's co-ed jail.
Handcuffs. and
Man, I gotta think of someone who I know for sure would answer. All my friends suck at answering their phones.
shots fired at the friends.
Yeah, they're all terrible
Aren't
at
you
it.
calling your parents?
I would probably call my parents. They're a little ways away. So I was thinking of like who can get me out the quickest.
I'd call my attorney, Todd Sivia.
He's like, nope, just tax help.
Well, I don't really do that.
Are you gonna die? I can help you.
I do need some estate planning, though. It's just been on my list. I'm using my one phone call.
I got some time
I
right
will
now.
get you out if we get an estate plan done
I
tonight.
think you could call Todd Sivia, and if you mention my name,
Listen, Annie told me to call you.
With your one call.
CiviaLaw.com. I don't know that he doesn't do that type of law, so
Why
I
did
can't
this say
speak with
Harrisburg
clarity.
Correctional Facility when it first picked up?
Can you imagine making that phone call from jail just because you had time?
I just want to say, hey, how you doing?
I only got 15 minutes. Can we do this in 15 minutes?
All right, next one.
Anyway.
Have a movie night with a twist.
Oh, boy.
Experience a nostalgic favorite of your partner.
Seems like you should do something that you both want to do.
I know. I don't want to watch her dumb movies.
The Notebook.
That's what you
I
do.
know.
That's what you do on her birthday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What, do you and Mrs. Wiggins have a movie?
Yeah, maybe Wet Hot American Summer. If you've ever seen that one, it's a really funny
I
movie.
haven't, so I don't get the implied joke.
You should see that movie. It is super funny. Don't watch it with your kids.
Okay.
And don't watch the reboot. Not very good.
I can't ping pong on this one here.
Book a local hot air balloon ride.
Nope.
How about taking a scenic train ride?
Maybe.
Some of these are not really specific to our area unless you want to just get on Amtrak and go to Jeff City. Go stargazing.
Amtrak also goes to Peoria.
I didn't say you couldn't go to Peoria. Just saying Jeff City's right there.
A lot to do.
Go stargazing in a remote spot. Not if it's raining, though.
Mm-mm.
I think these all sound like great dates. But I think Ethan's the one who said it. Like, once you got it locked up, it just sounds like a lot of work.
It does sound like a lot of work.
Okay, pivoting, I asked Ethan, like, should you be going on more dates? You do still have to date your spouse. It's very important to still date your spouse. And especially when you have kids. Jared and I have certainly gone through these ebbs and flows of when you're married and you've got this gaggle of kids and you both are working people. I would assume that if you had somebody staying home too, it would maybe even be more inflamed. But you start to feel like business partners. Everything you discuss is strategy and scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like two mustachioed men over World War II plans.
My marriage is not like that.
That's what.
But I can't speak to Mrs. Wiggins.
That's what Mrs. Wiggins always says about our marriage.
Yeah, I know she wears the pants.
So do I. We're both two mustachioed men.
I thought neither of you were wearing the pants, the whole poncho.
Yeah.
That's date night.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is
Mrs.
just
Wiggins wears the
business.
poncho.
In general,
This
got
is
it.
just getting the business done.
I just think that when it comes time to, if you get in that lull where everything is structure, it's very important to date. But I also think if the idea of the date, like going on a long walk, so you have to hire a babysitter or something, or doing something that's going to cost a lot of money, there are a lot of barriers that make it easy to say, we can't do that. We don't have time to do that. We don't have the money to do that. There's so many barriers that get in the way of that it's easy to postpone it or put it off or just think we'll get to it later. And the longer you do that in a relationship, it's dangerous in a relationship to get to that place where it's very businesslike. And I think that it's the most common thing for people my age, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, where you're so used to just having business discussions with your spouse over all of the things that have to get done, that sometimes it's important to maybe just send the kids to somewhere else, to a family member, to a friend, or to get a sitter or something. Like, even if it just means sitting on your very own couch, watching Wet Hot American Summer, a movie that you've heard that you should watch, but you never could watch it because you can't have it on when the kids are in the room, and that's how your life is dictated. So, to me, it's really just a super basic spending some uninterrupted time together, maybe just sitting and doing something still together that doesn't have to do with serving everybody else around you. Because I do really feel like people my age, that a lot of marriages get difficult because you forgot that you were married to each other and not that you were just the co-CEOs of a household where you're trying to get all the things done.
I agree. And two things, since we're probably close to out of time. One is that tomorrow I can bring you another whole list of what to do on Valentine's Day if you're going solo. Non-traditional ideas.
We should have we're going to have a Valentine's Day show tomorrow.
That sounds great. This is perfect content for that.
Uh-huh.
And then the second thing is that while we were talking, I realized that the head of the EPA's name sounds like he is in Lord of the Rings.
Lee Zeldin?
You got to put it backwards, though.
Zeldin
Lee.
I thought he sounded like an old Nintendo game.
That too.
I want you to do something right now. Both of you men. Take up my challenge on this. Send your wife a very lovely complimentary text. No context.
Right now?
In the break. And if you're listening right now, I'm challenging you. Send a loved one a very nice, loving, don't make it crazy. Compliment them on something that you love about them. No strings attached.
You look nice
I like how your
today.
hair isn't all frizzy.
Please do better than that.
You look
Men.
nice today.
Did you see her?
Nope.
Okay. We'll work on context in the break. Send somebody right now a message that tells them you love them and that you appreciate them for something. Be specific. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Just bite it, it's for the look, I don't light it. Ill way to ammo on the hand, stay on play. Give it up, jiggy, make it feel like foreplay. Yo, my cardio is infinite. Ha ha, Big Willie style's all in it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it.
Stewart's American Mortgage, the bagel loan guy. What's more romantic than the bagel loan? It's a rhetorical question. You don't need to answer that.
There's a lot of stuff.
No, I don't know. Have you ever been like, honey, we're saving hundreds of dollars monthly on our mortgage payment?
Ooh, that just got me flush.
I know. That's right. You're easy. If you're looking for an improvement on your current mortgage situation, Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, he's the guy to call and start that conversation. This number goes directly to Stewie, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. I really think that when you talk to Stewie, you're going to understand why he is so successful, nationally recognized as being a leader in the mortgage game. Your new mortgage, if you're buying a new home, Stewie can help you with that. The bagel loan, whether you get a new mortgage or a refinance, no closing costs with the bagel loan. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan to find out more information. Make sure Stewie knows you heard about it here on the Annie Fry Show. NMLS number 226715.
The ACA Market Plan has just announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg, and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis Roofing, Siding, and Gutter Systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
Hey, it's Mark Cox here with my friend and trusted realtor Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, we've worked together for 6 years now. You have 23 years of experience with your Guaranteed Sold program, but many don't know you also have a Guaranteed Multiple Cash Offer program for serious sellers.
That's right. Some sellers are looking for speed, certainty, and to avoid repairs and open houses. I just helped a family in December to sell their parents' estate. They chose me because I offered 4 cash offers at our first meeting, which gave them options picking the best cash offer. Whether it's multiple cash offers or my Guaranteed Sold program, my sellers are always in control to sell fast and for the most money. It's my guarantees and my buyers in waiting program that set me apart from other realtors.
Take it from me. Call Gloria Liu right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree upon price and possession date.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local. Magic Merlin baby starfish suit.
These are just words.
I've never understood that one.
No, that one's good because it's talking about babies, and we were talking about babies just a second ago.
That's not how it works.
That's exactly how it works.
Those were just words. That was like the start of a Mad Lib.
Magic Merlin's baby starfish suit?
Yeah. It's a real product.
Is it actually?
Yeah, if you have a baby, get one because they hold the baby out and make him sleep like a starfish. Because you'd think they want to curl up,
well,
right?
since we decided earlier in the show that they're going to start having some babies.
It's time.
You want to go in on a starfish shoot with him?
I can do that.
For Ethan, not for the baby.
Can be here. Oh, never mind.
Just help him sleep better.
I want to picture that.
Do you think there's adult ones?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, there is, but you don't want to know why.
Yeah, they're a lot like furries without the head.
Oh, no.
Sports and local.
Sports and local. That's such a quick transition.
That's the only way to do it. Rip
Yeah,
that Band-Aid off.
Let's go ahead and start with the latest college basketball updates. The Mizzou Tigers, big win last night on the road over Texas A&M, 86-85. They had a go-ahead alley-oop with about 15 seconds left. They gave them the 1-point lead, and then as time expired, they had a block to win the game. So really good win for Mizzou last night, and all of a sudden they have 3 really compelling road wins in the SEC. So
that's a streak.
Well, they're not in a row, Ryan. They have 3 on the resume.
Do they have 3 wins in a row though?
I don't know if they do.
I bet they do.
I think they do right now. But I'm not entirely positive. But all of a sudden they're making maybe a little bit of an argument that they could be a tournament team if they continue to perform the way they have as of recent. So good win for the Tigers last night. It was not a good night for the Illinois Fighting Illini.
Was that last night or was that 2 nights ago?
I have it as last night.
Yeah, I think it was 2 nights ago. Either way, 2 overtime losses, 2 conference teams. Wisconsin should not have beat them. But again, it's on the road.
It was 2 nights ago.
Either way,
look at the date.
The Illinois still is sitting very pretty, but they are, losing 92-90.
92-90.
That's tough.
Overtime. Wisconsin.
And not tough in the way the kids say things are tough.
Wisconsin actually trailed in this game at one point by 12, but they were able to overcome that. Had a couple of solid performances. Had a guy score 25, another guy score 24. So back-to-back losses now for Illinois.
Rick says, how many has Illinois lost in a row? 2 overtime losses by 1 bucket each.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with Illinois, and this is what you play for. Everybody's coming and bringing their best game, their most preparation against you. So you have to rise and elevate every time you compete. And that's what's great about college basketball in February and March. So,
and it's not to say that Wisconsin's bad by no means. They're 17-7 now and 9-4 in the Big Ten. So they're having a pretty good season as well. And there's a good chance they're going to be a tournament team.
Hot take on this.
This isn't a horrible loss.
My hot take on this is that this is good for Illinois because they need to understand that they are fallible to an extent and that you don't just walk into the gym. I don't think that they think this. I don't think Coach Brad Underwood thinks this. But it's not too bad to go into March with just a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and something to prove to yourself as much as anybody else. And a couple losses like this are going to have to make them be you got to be perfect. That's the way it is.
That's why we want SLU to lose.
No, that is not, in fact, why I want SLU to lose. SLU, I will completely change the narrative when we get to that report.
Oh, okay.
Keep winning.
Illinois will have an opportunity to right the ship on Sunday. They'll be back at home facing off against their rivals, the Indiana Hoosiers. So we will see if they're able to do so.
In a world of competition, isn't everyone your rival? I ask you this. See you guys later.
He's literally walking out of the studio. Bye, Ryan.
Bye. See ya.
The University of Missouri is selling the corporate naming rights to its nearly 100-year-old football stadium in order to create more revenue for its athletic department.
Did you guys Faroe Field or something?
Faroe Field, but I think that they're changing the Memorial Stadium part. It's Faroe Field at Memorial Stadium. So I think that they're going to change that part of it. Memorial Stadium, as Mizzou's football stadium has been known since its opening in 1926, will no longer be the facility's name if a suitable corporate partner is found. The university will drop Memorial from the stadium name and replace that title with a to-be-determined corporate entity.
Can we buy that, maybe?
It
Danny
depends.
Fry Show?
How much are you willing to put
streaming
down
money?
on it?
I've gotten called every 4-letter word in the English language, ironically.
Rich?
Probably some other ones. No, the negative ones, and I'm up to about $5.13 on that sucker. So
Well,
let's just keep rolling.
that could pitch into it, but to give you an idea,
Joe, Annie Fry Field.
here is an idea of some other schools that have recently added advertisement into
I don't know if you
their
really understand how much money we're not making on
naming
it.
rights. Last year, Arizona secured a $60 million 20-year naming rights agreement. That
I
was
could do $60.
Okay, all right.
Get
Indiana,
a tiny percentage of the naming.
last year, Indiana $50 million for a 20-year deal. So maybe you could do what would the conversion rate be if you did 1 year
or one game?
Maybe you could do like $2 million for 1 year. One game, it's even less. Maybe it's like $100,000.
Maybe you do one down.
One down. Okay, we're looking at a couple $1,000s at that point.
I ain't doing it.
Mizzou Athletics.
I'm going to name it like Chief Alinowick down.
Ooh, they have to accept it, though.
Wow, that would be good.
I really want President Trump to bring Chief Alinowick back. I don't know how to do that, but I am up for it.
I know how you could do it at the State of the Union.
Okay, I'll talk to Mark Cox.
Okay.
I like the idea. I am all about that. Mizzou Athletics reported a $9.1 million deficit in the fiscal year 2025, which ended last June. And so we'll see if they can continue to perhaps get some aid with the new advertisement that looks like it is to come. Here's all I'm going to say. Stan Kroenke has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever.
I just have a visceral reaction.
I think that would be pretty funny. It would be terrible, but it would be
Barf
funny.
Stadium.
He went to Mizzou, and he's from that area, grew up very close to Columbia. And a lot of people, since the NIL era has started out there, have said, hey, Stan Kroenke, what do you want to come and help out your alma mater? Which I don't know why he'd have any interest the way he treated St. Louis 10 years ago or so. But he could do the funniest thing ever by putting down a load of money just to have it named Kroenke Stadium because everyone would hate it so much.
Well, when I see his name, I hate it, so.
That's very fair. A couple of former Cardinals have signed with new teams. John King signing with the Miami Marlins yesterday.
Where's Ray King these days?
And
That's a great question. America needs the answer.
maybe you can do some research into that for me, Ryan.
First, Andrew McCutchen. Second, Ray King.
Miles Michaelis also signed with the Washington Nationals yesterday. Michaelis is going to is 37 this year, and he is expected to be competing for a spot in the Nationals rotation. Over the span of his 7 seasons with the Cardinals, a 68-69 record with a 4.16 ERA. Boy, it feels like it was worse than that.
Guess what? Former MLB relief pitcher Ray King, as of mid-2024, he may still be, was the manager of the Malone Border Hounds in the Empire Baseball League and was the pitching coach for the Oakland Ballers.
Annie Fry, care to comment?
Ray King, Cardinals jersey number 56.
All right.
That is one of the favorite things that dudes love to do when they're just sitting around, is just name random former athletes.
Can you check my facts?
What did you say his name?
Number
was?
56, Ray King, yeah.
Thanks for calling me a dude.
I didn't. I said it was one of the favorite things that dudes love to do.
Yeah.
So
Annie loves to do it too.
Annie and
so
the boys.
She's a dude. The number is incorrect.
56?
It is not 56. It is 46.
He's lying.
That's Paul Goldschmidt.
It says Ray King wore number 46 while pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals from 2004 to 2005. Wow, what a tenure. He was a left-handed relief pitcher for the team during those seasons. 2 seasons.
Well, I'm looking at Ray King in a Cardinals jersey, and it's 56.
AI is wrong then.
This is shocking. What are we going to do about it?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny because the picture AI is using to say he's number 46 shows him wearing 56.
This is crazy.
So they have the picture of him in that jersey and still got it wrong.
Will you apologize on behalf of yourself and your research integrity and AI?
In an AI voice, I will.
Please.
I am sorry.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker toured its electric neon sign park in Granite City on Monday to kick off a calendar year of celebrations for the 100th anniversary of Route 66. The governor's office is granting a grant of $1 million to the Illinois Route 66 Commission to support celebrations throughout the state in 2026.
I love the Route 66 stuff.
You okay?
No.
Sean, I'm going to keep going and let you guys just
either keep going
compete,
or end the segment.
Either's fine.
Over the last 4 years, the governor's office...
You're so willfully weird. That's the part. When people meet me and they're excited to, get to see somebody from the show, they always ask about Ryan, and they're always like, the quote is always, she really liked that. And the answer's like, 100%. It's just... Do it again. It's so funny.
Oh, thank you. I can't beat that.
I gotta stop laughing. Don't go away.
I feel there's nothing I can do.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed only $59.99. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott, St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis starts at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking starts at 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
Hi, this is Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, certified financial planner, and the host of the Jill on Money podcast. With the new year upon us, there's no better time to take control of your financial life. And the Jill on Money podcast is here to help. It's your questions that make it possible for me to provide unconventional and, I hope, entertaining insights on your money and, more importantly, on your life. Follow and listen to Jill on Money wherever you get your podcasts.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner, are the kids' practice jerseys clean, if she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? That is today's YouTube live chat poll. I'm going to pull up one comment here from Betsy on our YouTube page, just because she's one of the few who says a little. Most people are saying absolutely yes or absolutely not. She says a little. How can you? It's not. It's all they seem to be covering. Well, that's true. If you're not really paying close attention to the news, but it is there, I guess you are following it a little bit like she is. Let us know what you think. We'll give the results of this poll, which I anticipate to be hard one way or the other, either yes or no, here in just a couple minutes. 2:39. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
From Collinsville to Chesterfield, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I heard you calling on the megaphone. You wanna see me all alone. As legend has it, you are quite the pyro. You light the match to watch it blow. And if you never call.
So a little bit earlier in the show, we were paying attention to the press conference that was taking place after the Lee Zeldin announcement, major deregulation taking place with this administration. I can't remember the exact statistic, but at one point it was like they have done, gosh, I should just look it up before I say it, but it's like 20 or 30 deregulation measures for every new regulation that was added.
It's a lot.
It's
been
gigantic,
a priority.
which is how you make government smaller.
Exactly.
So, and by smaller, when people say make government smaller, that means more affordable. That means less expensive, less taxpayer dollars being thrust into the swamp where once the money goes there and gets spent, it's never going to get cut anymore. Well, we actually have a president now who is willing to do that, and it's pretty incredible. I was talking a little bit earlier in the show about after, we watched that press conference, the press left the, I don't know if it was the Oval Office where they were. It might have been a side room where they were making this announcement. But I was talking about Caitlin Collins. Now, Caitlin Collins is a CNN reporter. She's the White House correspondent. She also has a show in primetime sometime on CNN. When I went to Washington, D.C. in April of last year, she was in the room. We went out and watched the Philadelphia Eagles. They were there at the White House, so I got to see all of that from the press area. And Caitlin Collins was I could have reached out and tapped her on the shoulder. I was standing right there with them. I didn't really talk to her. I kind of thought should I try to talk to her? And I was like, I don't really have a reason to talk to her, and she's working, so I was being kind of, I don't know that I was being shy, but I just didn't want to be that person.
Well, you should have said something just so you had a Caitlin Collins story for the rest of your life.
Well, my Caitlin Collins story is I watched her work, and she seemed like she got along with a lot of the people who were in the press corps.
You should have said, crazy, huh?
Donald Trump, am I right? That's my story starter every time I'm talking to people. So it's easy to create villains and heroes out of these people who are in the press and the media, and they're really just normal people for the most part, not all of them. But Caitlin Collins was on a podcast, and I don't have the name of the podcast that she was on, so I apologize for that. But she was asked about being overseas and being a part. She just tells a story about getting essentially kicked out of the ability to ask questions at a press event because she shouted out a question, which is what our press does. You go into a room, people shout out questions. The person who they're interviewing, usually the president or whomever, answers the question that they want to, and they move on. Well, she got bounced out of being able to do it because the Saudi prince didn't like it. And the way she tells the story here, they said to the Trump White House, she can't come in anymore. And then Carolyn Levitt got involved. Listen
when
to
we
the
were in
story.
Saudi Arabia and we were on a foreign trip with the president, and he came in with all the other leaders, including the Saudi crown prince. They famously do not like the media there,
Right.
To put it lightly. And I asked a shouted question to President Trump, who had seen me when the U.S. press came in. He didn't answer, which is, that's how it works. You shout questions, they either answer or they don't. It's their prerogative. And then the world leaders left the room. The Saudi royal guard kind of freaked out because I dared to ask a question, and they're not used to that there because they don't have a free press. And so they came up and they said, okay, well, you can't come into the next event, which was 2 minutes later. And I was like, that's not how this works. I go into the U.S. press, and they were like, well, you're not coming in. And I could see them whispering and pointing about me. And some of the younger White House staff that were with the press weren't really sure what to do. And they went to Caroline. And to her credit, she said, no, Caitlin's coming in with the rest of the U.S. press. And we went in. And so it didn't become this huge issue because obviously if I had not been allowed in, this is something that has happened with the North Koreans when the president visited the DMZ and Sarah Huckabee Sanders was the press secretary. And so to her credit, she without a doubt was like, no, you're coming in.
Right.
Which I do think is important in that moment, especially when you're kind of the U.S. contingent abroad and we don't do things like they do in Saudi Arabia.
So that is from the podcast, Absolutely Not is the name of it. But I think it's a really interesting moment to be able to, for Caitlin Collins to be sitting here on this podcast and to choose to tell that story about Carolyn Levitt. And, I'm always kind of fascinated by the relationship that exists between a press secretary and the press because it's so combative.
Mm-hmm.
But, in the television shows that you watch, if there's a press secretary involved, and what I've heard from other press secretaries, people who have held that position or people who have been in that White House press room, they actually understand that not that they're a team, but that they actually have a really incredibly important role in the function of our American society. That the press needs to be able to ask whatever they want to ask. That's the number one First Amendment, right? Freedom of the press is part of the tenets of the First Amendment, and that the White House should have to answer to the press. Now, I think where we've really, really lost the plot in the last 20 years, the press is not supposed to be there counter advocating against the party in power. They're supposed to be always challenging. When you talk about speaking truth to power, which is such an overused phrase these days, the press is supposed to be there on your behalf. And guess what? When I'm talking to you, some of you vote for the Republicans, some of you vote for the Democrats, some of you don't vote all the time. Some of you wait and see who the candidates are going to be on which side and make your decision then. But when you're the press and you're advocating for the people, you have to be in the hottest of pursuit for the truth. And if that's the number one listed amendment that we have right now is the protection of the freedom of the press, that means that the number one thing that is to be protected is the truth. But you have to have an entity that's worthy of advocating first and foremost for the truth, not for an outcome, not for an advocacy of a particular political side. And we haven't had that for a long time. And I think that it's simple from our side to look at Caitlin Collins. And obviously she's adversarial to President Trump in a way that I don't think she's equally adversarial to the political party that it appears that she supports. But I think it's important to highlight a moment like that where you see that Carolyn Levitt and Caitlin Collins are treating each other like Americans. And especially in the face of the Saudi prince and the Saudi prince's demands there, oh no, there's no political party that gets in the way of at least this press secretary and the way she operates, the press that is moving with her. And also on the converse of it, Caitlin Collins is willing to tell that story.
The reason that story is important is because it's bigger than just blue and red R&D fighting back and forth, which is normally what we see. Both of them agree in that moment to a higher principle, which is the freedom of the press, the First Amendment. And it actually says more about Carolyn Levitt because, of course, a journalist is going to believe in the freedom of the press. That's not hard. But the press secretary who has to take questions from that journalist who she doesn't like to defend her in that moment, that means she believes in something higher than that.
And I don't even really know if Carolyn Levitt doesn't like Caitlin Collins. Like, that could even be kind of an inference.
Well, it's adversarial at least.
Yes, professionally, but personally, not necessarily. And there's something here that rises above that professional adversarial nature like you're mentioning. And I just think I saw that, and it's not going to run the headline news tonight that happened. But I did think it was worthy of mentioning. I think it's something that we should know exists in this back and forth that we have every day. I thought it was a positive story. The results of today's YouTube live chat poll. Are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? Next. Don't go away.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We are in the 6th hottest real estate market in the country, Stewie. What can buyers in St. Louis do to gain that advantage with you?
You know what, Mark? It's real simple. Number one, the Bagel loan. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. The Big Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Take that money you're saving, add it to the bid, beat all the other offers out. Number two, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. What does that mean? We pre-approve you for the maximum amount that you qualify for. You can then go into our portal and edit the letter and raise it or lower it to any amount you want up to the amount you pre-approved. No waiting for the loan officer, no waiting for anybody else. It's all in your hands. And the third thing, we can close in 10 days. That's a big deal. If you go to the seller and say, hey, here's my offer. It may not be the best, but we can close quick. Everybody else is 30 days out. You know it's going to happen quickly with our reputation. Big bam boom, you got the house of your dreams.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
You know, well, I'm a chicken fried.
Chicken Fried, Zach Brown Band, is a total vibe. Like, whatever you are and whatever you're doing, when you hear the song, you gotta kind of want to be wherever this song is taking place.
Can I just say something?
No.
I like chicken fried chicken. I do not like chicken fried steak.
Okay.
And I want that to be publicly known.
It is now.
Thank you.
We've got Valentine's Day coming up on Saturday, so tomorrow we're going to do some fun Valentine's Day content stories. We'll see what we come up for you on Saturday. Are you, either of you, Ethan? Do you guys have Valentine's Day traditions? Is there expectations in your home? You guys have been married. This will be your second year?
This will be our second Valentine's Day married.
Okay.
Yes. We like to do Dewey's. We like to go to Dewey's. That's one of our favorite restaurants. And
on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we're not a slave to it. But we like to do a date night. I think we've done Dewey's almost every single Valentine's that we've been even back to when we were dating.
Kind of just is the thing.
It's just kind of the thing.
Will you get her flowers?
Yes, I will get her flowers. Yes.
Ethan? Ryan? Sorry.
Ethan.
Yes, I said I'd get her flowers.
Ethan, answer my questions. You too, Ryan. Ryan, will you get Ethan flowers?
Yes.
Yes.
As long as I
Again?
don't have to give Katie flowers. I'll get them for Ethan. We do have a Valentine's Day tradition, though, that we realized last weekend.
Slip and sliding? Yeah.
It's a little cold, but it's our thing.
In the nude.
In the buff. Birthday suit slip and slide time. We, for 3 years in a row now, without attempting to do it, have made it a tradition that not just me and Katie, but all of our family with the kids, we go out to a ramen restaurant. And we did it last weekend, and we went, wait a minute. This is about the time of year we always do this. It's almost Valentine's Day, and I think we've done it 3 years in a row.
My husband and I don't have any sort of expectations at all, but our kids, like especially my 9-year-old, and Molly was more excited about Valentine's Day than she was Christmas. Like leading into Christmas, she's like, but when's Valentine's Day?
Really?
I don't know what she thinks is going to happen, but we probably need to figure it out.
Is it something with her school?
I don't know.
She just still do the exchanging of the Valentine's Day cards.
That was so fun when you were a kid, man.
Agreed.
Yep.
Get the little candies.
Got to make the box and everything.
Yeah.
Your message
that was
so
always
important
fun. Yeah.
to each person.
I don't know many grade school boys who felt that way, but that's good that you did.
Well, I just had mine sports themed, so that's
Me
why I was
too.
excited to make the box sports themed.
We're doing. We'll do stuff for our kids to some extent. Jared usually does that without me asking him. He'll get like flowers and stuff for the girls, and then he'll throw some my way as well. There aren't expectations, but actually getting like further into our relationship as our kids get older, we're kind of getting more into it. It feels less like an obligation and more like a sure, we'll do that. That sounds fun, which is maybe more about our personalities than anything else. You want to get to the results of the poll?
I gladly will.
I'm a yes on this one for the record.
Ryan?
I'm a no.
I am a little bit. So we have one of each of the options on today's YouTube live chat poll. 276 votes, by the way. Are you following the Nancy Guthrie story? 36% say yes, 20% say no. and 45% say they are a little bit.
It's
45% won that poll.
Yeah, 80%.
A little bit.
80% of the people are following it at minimum a little bit,
That
if
is
not
not
following
what
it.
I expected at all.
Yeah, only 20% said no. So we'll keep you updated as things happen, breaking. We're not going to do the whole show about it, but we'll stick close to it. Mark Reardon coming up next.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Retailers love Valentine's Day. The National Retail Federation predicts we will spend $29 billion on Valentine's Day.